can't do this. I mean, you gotta...
Good afternoon. This is the Board of Appeals, Town of Hempstead, May 1st, 2 p.m. meeting. Mr. Chairman, do you have any opening remarks?
For those of you who have not been here before, and it appears that there are quite a number of people who may not have been here before, the hearings are run in the following order. First, the secretary will call for adjournments. Those cases will be heard first. If there are any other applications, we'll hear those, and then we will call the cases in order. With respect to adjournments, it has been the policy of this board for as long as I've been here that if it's the first time the case is on, we generally grant them. All right? We are not burdened by the strict rules of evidence. This is an administrative body. As a result, if you wish to submit letters, we take emails, we read them all. We do have a court reporter in the room who will take down every word that is uttered here. The proceedings are also live streamed so that you can refer to them in the future if you wish. Right?
Mr. Chairman, first...
Oh, wait a minute. So the order on the hearings is the applicant goes first, they present their case. If there are any people who are in opposition, we will then allow them to voice their concerns. And finally, we will call the applicant once again to sum up. After that, the case will be closed. Some decisions are made today. Some are held for a period of time for various reasons. And now you may proceed, Patrick.
Mr. Chairman, I'd like to call, is there anybody here that has an application for adjournment? Please come forward.
Chair.
Microphone. And name and address for the record, sir.
Is it working okay? Yeah. Okay. Good afternoon. Thomas J. Gary, the law firm of Harris Beach, on behalf of the applicant, Mount Sinai South National Hospital, with respect to matter number 1382 of 24. Respectfully request an adjournment to May 15th. Give us an opportunity to work together with some of our experts for the May 15th application.
If you're taking some time to do that, have you, I see signed in a number of community members. Have you also met with the community to present whatever it is?
We have met with many members of the community, many neighbors. And I'll ask for a list today of the folks who are here today, and of course, we will of course reach out to them.
Thank you.
Right. There's no need to, right? So this case is there anybody else who would like to be heard on this case?
On solely on the request?
Solely on the issue of adjournment. The case is now on for May 15th at 2 p.m.
Thank you.
For the parking lot?
For that case.
Can we take off another day of work, come in?
As I mentioned, you know, it's the protocol.
But they can't do that.
Well, they can do it.
What do you mean keep?
Took off time from work to be here.
Keep, do they have an adjournment?
They have to be
No,
prepared to...
no, this is the first time on.
Wait, I'm sorry, is this your first adjournment?
Yes, first time.
Oh, because you said keep taking it. No, it's only the first adjournment. We always,
Pardon?
I live directly across the street, they didn't need to pay me.
well, that's why I mentioned they should, that,
Before we
given there's time, hold on.
Just a
Given that,
minute. just a minute. This case is going to be heard on the 15th of May. There aren't going to be any further adjournments. It would behoove the applicant to communicate with any of the people who are here who apparently feel that they're in opposition. Right? No. Did you hear what I said? If they never communicated, that's really not the issue. They should be communicating with you if they have not.
And he's indicated he was going to do
He's
that.
indicated that he would, and if he doesn't, you'll have the opportunity to say that on the 15th of May.
Matter of fact, just so we are clear, when we say communicate, we usually, and you've asked for the list, I get it. Usually we mean reach out in a group fashion, and maybe you can have some sort of group meeting to talk about the proposal. I'm not trying to subscribe exactly to what it is, but usually when we use that term, I don't mean call that one guy or that one woman. We usually imagine that as being, you get the list, you send out, you somehow find a way to reach out to the group, and usually the way it works is then you have some sort of group meeting where you show what the request is, you show illustrations, rendering, whatever that is. Because I'm assuming, and then you hear what the folks around, these folks, whatever their issues are, whether they're in favor of it, against it, just interested in knowing more about it.
I understand,
So,
I
okay.
understand and I appreciate, before I leave today, I'm willing to take everybody's name and phone number and chat with them right now and give them our
And,
contact.
excuse me, and by the way, if it's an imposition for you to come back here on the 15th, you're perfectly free to submit letters in opposition. Believe it, we read all of them. Oh, then you can come back on the 15th of May.
Wait,
I
was that 2
apologize.
o'clock? Oh, so
Understood.
we did make it at 2 o'clock.
2 o'clock.
Like today.
2 o'clock.
Which hopefully is somewhat helpful, because 9:30 can waste the whole day, because if you're the last case at 9:30, I'll be perfectly honest, sometimes you don't get heard till 12:30. So at least at 2 o'clock, hopefully that, we don't have any, it's all we got, it's all we can do, you know. He said to meet with the experts, and he's going to meet with the group.
Okay.
They're required to do so.
Signs, the big yellow signs stating on the first, right?
Right.
So we all came here on the first because they were supposed to be prepared on the first.
They put up the signs.
Because
Our
they're
office
required to
controls
do
the
so.
date. And once we give it to them, they have to notice it, they have to send out the notices. So, there's no blame to be placed, but they didn't have a choice on the date. The zoning office just,
Okay.
well, honestly, I'm glad that there's some time for them to meet with the community, to be perfectly honest with you. I think it's a benefit.
Okay?
Thank you.
Can I ask a question, Joy, please?
It-
Will he be getting the list of the South Asshole that we signed on today? Will he be getting?
That's
Yes,
that's what he
yes,
asked
he
for.
requested that.
To answer the lady's question, I will do that. I'll also wait here and take everybody's name and
Outside,
information outside. I
Yeah.
will not leave until everybody has a chance.
And
Give
folk,
me their contact
okay. So all of you know, there's not gonna be a new mailing, so if there's anyone you know who wanted to be here and couldn't, please let them know of the new date. And as Mr. Pellegrini just reminded me, you do have to update the sign, though. That's a rule requirement. Whatever they are, the signs have to be updated.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Every time that a single family home is purchased, it comes off the tax rolls from, because they're not for profit. How do we know that, how does that get put into the school budget? How does it get put into our budget?
That's
It's above
not
my
an,
grade
that's
grade.
not an issue that's not
It's
an
above
issue
my
that
pay
we
grade.
determine.
Isn't that a county?
The assessors, I guess the county assessor's
I think it's
office.
the county that would control
Yeah,
that.
yeah.
Mr. O'Brien, do you know who controls that?
How would he know?
Because he worked for the.
Assessment.
Controlled by the municipal county department.
Yeah.
Just because you're not for profit, you want to get, you have to be
501c3.
Mr. O'Brien used to work for the county, that's why I asked him.
all that come off the tax roll, they don't pay $1 in
I'm not going to say it. We, just for your edification, all the board members live in this county as well. That's, with all due respect, that's not within the purview of our jurisdiction. All right? And it's a point well made. I'm not saying it is. Okay. We understand that. We live here too. Okay. All right?
Not change the zoning, but we have the power.
To either approve it or disapprove it. Okay? All right, the discussion is going far afield of where we should be. It's on for the 15th. It will be heard that day at 2 p.m. Patrick, any other applications? Any other applications?
Next, I'm calling case 31823 through 31923, Inwood JJ&A Realty LLC, also known as, formerly known as 58 Zavat Street. Just your name and address for the record.
Dominic Minerva and D'Agostino.
Hold on a minute. Let's
We need someone, they're lining up to talk to him. If he can move further out, then everyone can fit.
tell them to go down the hallway.
Say that again?
Yeah, let him do whatever he wants.
Why, is security not letting you? That's what I said.
No, no.
You can go out.
Chris, Dawn, can somebody go out and request that they not line up in the hearing room? I mean, if they want to line up, they're well advised to line up elsewhere.
We can't hear her otherwise. Sorry, Mr. Minerva.
No problem. Ready?
Go right ahead, Mr. Minerva.
Okay.
You have an application, I take it.
Yes, Dominic
Okay.
Minerva and D'Agostino, 107 South Central Avenue, Valley Street, New York, attorney for the applicant. My application to withdraw the pending applications for variance. My client is substantially changing the proposed building. This was adjourned a few times. They still don't have the new plan up to speed. And since the variances are changing anyway, and I'm going to have to change the signs, I'm just going to withdraw it so I don't continue to adjourn it. And when the guy is ready, we'll come to you with the final plan. So
Okay.
my request is to withdraw.
So marked.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Minerva.
Have a good day.
Mr. Chairman, I do not have any other applications for adjournment
Okay.
or withdrawals.
Start calling the cases.
First, we'll start with case 28024 through 28124, Lido Beach, Stephen Diamond. Variances, front yard setbacks on Fairway Road and Lido Boulevard, lot area occupied, maintain wood decks attached dwelling, maintain 6-foot-high fence forward dwelling on Lido Boulevard and Fairway Court, which may substantially obstruct line of sight and in clear sight triangle. Install 8-foot-high self-latching fence, also known as 161 Fairway Road.
Lisa Koshia with Permits or Us, 338 Jericho Turnpike, number 396, Syosset, New York, 11791. Good afternoon, Mr. Chairman and members of the board. I'm here representing Mr. Diamond, who wishes to maintain and legalize a wood deck attached to the dwelling and a fence. This property is located in a Residence B zone. The deck has a front yard setback on Lido Boulevard of 24.1 feet, where the required is 25 feet, and a front yard setback on Fairway Road of 24.5 feet, where the required is 25 feet. The lot coverage is 30.7%, where the required is 27.5%. The 6-foot fence is cut on an angle across the front corner of Lido and Fairway and is not a solid fence. I do not believe it causes a line of sight issue on Fairway Road, as it is a one-way street coming off of Lido Boulevard. The plot plan and notice state a proposed 8-foot tall self-closing gate. However, that is no longer being installed. It's just a 6-foot tall gate.
So do you want to withdraw that portion of the request. So it would end with, start with install and end with gate.
Yes, because the gate itself would be 6 feet tall, the same as the fence, not 8 feet. That's the only change. There will still be a gate, but instead of it being 8 foot tall, it's 6 feet.
Maybe we just change it to 6 feet in case it's needed.
Okay, thank you.
Okay.
The house has since been sold and there is money in escrow. Mr. Diamond respectfully requests your approval.
Yeah. You're aware that there are a number of open building permits?
Yes,
Those are being closed out?
Yes,
Should this be
correct.
granted?
correct.
Okay. Any other questions from the board?
Yeah, I have to catch up. I'm sorry.
See if that helps.
Does this? Give me a second too.
Sorry, it's the iPad. It's not Mr. Pellegrini's phone. I thought it was before and I was mad.
TMI.
Does this
John,
Go ahead.
this thing? Look. You see that?
yeah,
Where's it here?
wait. Oh, I'm not. got
Are
it.
you aware of any complaints from the neighbors?
No, I am not aware of any complaints.
I'm gonna give Dawn the iPad for you to look at. I just need, she'll point out a structure that I don't see on your site plan.
Sure.
It's the,
It's this.
it's not the plans we're looking at in that. We're looking at the Google picture, which may be old.
Okay.
Some of them are.
Have to be at the house.
It's this, the existing garage. It's actually like cut in half. So the one side, it would almost be like the one side is for here and the other side is for this. It's weird, it's like they share. Yeah, it's a strange, it's the garage. What you're seeing there is the top
That's a
of the
garage?
garage. Yeah, it's forward.
This one.
So the only thing you're here for, as it relates to lot area occupied, is that deck.
This is,
Can you say it again? I'm sorry.
My voice doesn't carry.
No, that's okay.
So as it relates to the lot area occupied request, you're allowed 27.5. You're looking for 30.7. Is all of that decking?
The only thing, yes, that we're requesting is for the decking for lot area.
And was there decking before this? Was there other decking on the premises?
No, the way you see it on the plot plan, I was at the site, is the way you see it. Where do you
Yeah.
go there?
I'm not even referencing. I personally, and as the board, we're starting to try to distinguish between decking that's lot area occupied, because if we approve something that's 40% lot area occupied in a community, but literally 12.5% of it is a deck that's low, a deck is much different than a structure.
Yeah.
So we might have someone come in later and said, you approved 40%, when in fact, we approved a house at 27, decking at 12, or you get the picture. So my question is, you're here for the deck, and you're here to ask that instead of 27.5%,
Yes.
you be allowed to go to 30.7.
Right.
But I'm guessing the house wasn't exactly 27.5, it might have been 26.
Yeah,
So I'd like to know what percentage of the lot area occupied of the whole place is decking, so we can address it in that way.
Okay, I don't have that number for you.
Can you get it and call in?
I can, sure.
Okay, so you understand what I want to know, right? I want to know the
100%,
lot
yeah.
area occupied
Of
that the
just the
house
deck.
and the garage
Right.
and
irrelevant.
structures take, and how much of it is only a deck, so that when we deliberate, we can discuss it in a more accurate fashion. Okay.
Do you have anything else you'd like to add, Ms. Koshia?
No, thank you.
can I ask her to approach? I wanted to point out
Okay.
pictures on here.
Could you approach, please?
Sure.
Stay with me. This is, where's your house?
Is that big one? No, it's that.
It's the black roof. No, it's this.
that
This is the
corner.
cut fence.
Okay.
Yes.
That's what I thought. What,
Yes.
where is this on your plot plan?
This is here, but it's attached. It's attached to the neighbor's garage, so this is like half. And the neighbor has this and they have this. So that's why it looks square and this
So
looks
that's the
rectangle.
neighbor's house, or
This is the
garage.
neighbor's, right, that's these people.
Who owns this?
That's, my client owns this, which is this part.
It's the strangest thing
So
ever.
where's the
Does the
property?
neighbor own that half?
And the neighbor has this half, so whatever the line
It's
is,
a shared
this,
garage.
it's this line, which would be, you know, if I drew it down the center there from the fence. Does that make sense?
No.
No?
She's saying like a row house, that they own half, like those Lido
Correct,
houses. Remember
correct.
those Lido houses?
So where's the property line on here?
Any other questions or comments from the board? If not, do I have a motion?
Mr. Chairman, I would move that the hearing be closed, the matter be placed on the decision calendar. Ms. Cuccia, you be notified by mail of the board's decision once.
Second. All in favor? Any opposed? Any abstention?
Next, we have case 28224 through 28324 Belmore, Eugenio Jimenez, immediate family residence, second kitchen, maintain accessory structure, barbecue and counter with less than required side yard setback, also known as 1905 Bedford Avenue.
Who's going to be living there? Can I have the file? This case? Oh, was that because she had, oh, okay, got it. Swear him. Swear him. You did? Okay. Excuse me, folks, if you want to have a discussion, please have your discussion outside because we can't hear people over the din, okay?
Hanley Leonardo, 1912 First Avenue, New York.
Next.
Eugenio Jimenez, 10.
Speak louder, please.
We can't hear you.
Eugenio Jimenez.
Okay.
Bump, tap it. Well, if they thought it was off, you can see how quiet you're speaking. So you gotta
Eugenio
speak way
Jimenez.
louder.
Eugenio Jimenez,
Okay. Your address, sir?
1905
Okay.
Bedford Avenue.
Okay. And you, ma'am?
Celestina Leonardo,
1912 First Avenue, New York.
Good afternoon again, Mr. Chairman, members of the board. I am here representing Mr. Jimenez, who wishes to legalize an immediate family residence and barbecue island. This property is located in a Residence B zone. The barbecue island has a side yard setback of 1.5 feet, where the required is 2 feet. Mr. Jimenez would also like to legalize an immediate family residence. Mr. Jimenez will be living on the second floor, and his sister Celestine and nephew Hanley Leonardo will be living on the first floor. My clients are aware of the immediate family residence rules of 1 doorbell, 1 meter, 1 entrance, 1 mailbox, and if they sell the property, they are aware that the new owners will need to reapply. Mr. Jimenez respectfully requests your approval.
Has this come before the zoning board once in the history of the house?
I know they purchased the home last year. Let me see. I'm sure it has, because I believe it was a mother-daughter or immediate family before.
There's one in 2003.
Okay.
It says construct second floor
Right.
with bath in excess of 50%, which is an indication to me that
That was
it
here.
came before the board,
Right.
maybe.
Yes, and also for the mother-daughter in
Yes.
'03.
Were there any, do you have the decision of the 2003 permit to construct a second floor in excess of 50%?
Well, it shows just as a closed building permit. I'm assuming it was granted.
I guess, has it been granted with a, applying conditions that would?
In 2018, they removed it, and then the home was sold in '23, and now my clients are back for
2018, they removed what?
reapplying for a mother-daughter.
What did they remove in 2018?
There's a closed plumbing permit to remove the kitchen sink on the second floor.
Was there other parts to a kitchen on that floor?
I don't know, this was in
Who would know?
2018.
The owner.
Oh, wait,
the
aren't
owner
your
in
clients the prior owner?
2018.
No, they just bought it in
Oh, you just
23.
bought.
Yeah, less than a year ago they purchased.
Okay, so how did your clients come to know they needed to legalize this? As part of the transaction or some other way? Like, did someone complain or?
Okay. The Realtor had advised them, but in the meantime, they're applying for permits that were granted for doing other work that don't require variances on the home. So the Realtor said if you're going to do extensive work to the house, you have to apply for permits. So they applied, they were granted, but then they also wanted to apply for mother-daughter, which is now before you, that portion of it.
Wait, is the second kitchen already in the house?
No, no.
So they.
The house is currently under construction with approved permits from the building department.
For?
They put, let's say they extended the second floor over the garage. They did direct replacement, I believe, of kitchen and bath on the first floor.
Okay, so, let me just fill in the gaps.
Sure.
So that I can understand it. Let's start, there's a foundation with, I think an exterior entrance. Is that an exterior entrance to the cellar, or?
Now,
First of all,
the
it's
side, on the side entrance, you mean?
Yeah.
The side entrance goes into the home on the first floor.
Does it also go down? Are there stairs there to go down also?
Yes.
We have a picture of this house.
Yeah, yes, the door also goes down to the basement.
So in the back, there's also a side door that has like, there's a bump out, and the door there is on the, I think it's the back, and the door there is on the side of the bump out, like the bump out goes like this, and the door's not here, but it's here. Is that a door that goes just into the first floor, or does it have stairs?
You mean behind the garage?
I'm looking at photographs, because
Oh,
behind, it could be behind the garage. Let me see if I
yeah,
have it.
behind the garage, there's There are 5 or 6 steps up to a sliding door.
Okay, how many kitchens are in the house right now?
1 kitchen
Okay.
on the main floor, first floor.
You know the issue is I don't have elevations, that's why I can't answer exactly.
Okay.
So, in the basement, in the foundation, it's called foundation on the plans, it looks like there are 3 levels, so to speak, of living, not that it's characterized as a 3-story, but there's something called the foundation on the floor plans, first floor, second floor. So going by this foundation, it appears there's a full or 3/4 bath there. There's a couple of rooms which are designated as other things. One has a boiler, one has an oil tank, and one has a washer dryer.
Correct.
Instead of being all in one room. So what else is that, the foundation, cellar, basement, whatever it is, what else is
It would
down?
be-
Have you been in the house, Ms. Kuchar?
No, I haven't been down to, no, the house is under construction. I haven't been visiting.
How much
the
under
house.
construction?
The outside looks relatively finished, but the inside, they're still working. Well, when I was there, it was still, yeah, sheet rock walls, you know.
Well, this house isn't before us for an over 50%.
No.
No, because the picture of the home that you see is the way they bought the house. The permits were applied, were issued for renovations. So the house now looks different than what you're seeing here, but it was approved by the building department because it didn't require a variance. None of the other work required a variance. The only thing before you would be for them to be able to put in the second kitchen, and also because they have that setback issue with the barbecue island outside, the 1/2 foot roughly.
So, the kitchen on the first floor, I'm looking at the floor plan. And the kitchen proposed on the second floor is right above. So do they live in the house?
No, they don't currently live in it.
Huh.
Yeah, it's
I'm
still.
surprised that much construction and it's not an over 50%.
No, because it's pretty much the footprint. The only difference is that they added space over the garage. The garage didn't have a space beforehand. Now it does, or it will.
And it's proposed that 3 people live in the house.
Correct. Those are the 3 people with me today, my clients.
What is the height of the garage with the second story? That's,
The height of the garage with the second story is with the house, it's level across, let me see. I don't know if there's,
Yeah, go ahead.
I don't know if I have the height.
Oh. 3 people.
Okay, 27.68. The building height on the plan says 27.68, and there was no change, so I'm assuming that's the height of the room over the garage as well.
Ms. Kuchia, when did your client buy that property? I'm sorry, I know you said.
23. Okay, about 10 months ago, roughly.
So on some of the materials, there's some indication that at one point or another, there was a business, Kids Inc. or something, that doesn't have anything to do with your clients, I presume. It's on some of the materials that look like they were a while ago.
He says that was the prior owner.
Okay, and how many exterior doors are on? So there is or is not an exterior staircase to the first floor? It's just that side one that goes in and down, or?
To go into the house, there's a front entrance, steps going up to a porch and a front entrance. There's the side entrance that you saw behind the garage with the 5 steps. And then there's also, on the other side of the house, there's a side entrance as well with a few steps that goes into on a slider door, like a glass patio door.
And then what's on the rear of the house?
On the rear, yeah, there's no entrance into the house on the rear. No, on the rear of the house, there's no entrance, only that entrance you see behind the garage.
Well, I thought that was on the
Three
side.
Yeah.
Two
but-
sides of front
And
and
that's
what?
it. The
So-
rear just has windows.
All right, so can I just, Ms. Kachia, can
Yeah.
you just come here real quick?
Yeah.
Because I don't know how to describe what I'm asking about. That,
Yes, that's behind the garage.
isn't that in the back of the house?
I mean, it's a door to the actual garage, because the garage isn't finished. They're proposing to
Right, no,
leave
I
the garage.
finish or not,
So I
I'm trying to
mean,
figure
these
out
steps
that,
go-
I thought was the rear of the house.
Oh, okay, I keep saying behind the garage. To me, this is the rear. So this doesn't have a door.
This is the rear of the house,
That's the rear of the
because
house.
it's longer this way, isn't it?
Correct, it's a long, because it's
So
a
this is
narrow-
the side entrance you're talking about.
No, this is actually into the actual garage.
Right, but
This right here, you can't see it because it's on the side. This, you go up 5 steps and you walk into the house this way,
that's another entrance.
into the garage. You know how like you have a separate entrance into your
Right,
garage?
no, but when I ask you how many entrances,
Oh,
that's relevant, because,
okay. Only because you can't get into the house from the garage, so that's why I didn't
oh,
think
you
of it as
cannot?
no, you
Okay,
cannot
so next time
access.
just say there's one, but you can't get in.
Oh, okay, okay, no problem. Are you okay
Where's
with
the
that?
garage? Oh, so that's this one.
Correct, that's this door to the garage, and then
And
the
you cannot
steps
get
is,
into the house from the
no,
garage.
there's no access from there.
And where do these go to?
This right here, that we just, this little gate that you see, like the baby gate, goes up a few steps and into the door there.
And where does it go? Into here?
Into, yeah, into their house.
Doesn't even look like there's a door there.
No, it's like a slider. It's a
Okay.
sliding patio door, 2
Okay.
glass panels.
Okay.
Is that okay, or are you gonna?
Yeah, no, that's all, I just, you know, without elevations, it's hard, that's the issue.
Any other questions from the board? She said her client agreed to it, if you recall. She said her client was familiar with all the conditions, and they agreed to it. Is that not accurate, Ms. Koshia?
Yes, they
Your
agreed to
client
the.
is aware of all
immediate
the,
family.
the conditions, and they agreed to it, correct?
Yes, correct, they agreed.
Okay. Thank you for that. Anything else?
I'm not gonna
Don't, all right.
I move the hearing be closed, the case placed on a decision calendar. When the board renders its decision, you will be notified.
Second, favor, all in favor, any opposed, any abstentions?
No, I wasn't. All right.
Next, we have cases 284-24 through 286-24. Lido Beach, Diane and Wright. Variances, lot area occupied, maintain second-story deck with stairs attached to dwelling. Special exception to maintain shed higher and larger than permitted, exceeding horizontal maximum, and with lot area occupied variance. Maintain 4-foot-high fence forward of the dwelling, which may substantially obstruct line of sight, also known as 31 Reynolds Drive. Ms. Kashia, we have you sworn in from before. Just your name and address for the record.
Lisa Kushia with Permits R Us, 338 Jericho Turnpike, number 396, Syosset, New York, 11791. Good afternoon again. I am here representing Ms. Enright, who wishes to maintain a second-story deck with stairs attached to the dwelling. She wants to maintain a shed that is higher and larger than permitted, and maintain a 4-foot-high fence forward of the dwelling. This property is located in a Residence B zone. The rear second-story wood deck with stairs and shed have a lot coverage of 29.82%, where the required is 27.5%. The shed is 14 feet 2 inches wide, where the allowed is 12 feet, and is 9.3 feet in height, where the allowed is 9 feet, of a minimal 3 inches in difference. The 4-foot-high fences on either side of the property do not, in my opinion, cause a line of sight issue. They end about 3 feet before the sidewalk and have a lattice on top and are solid on the bottom. The house has since sold and there is money in escrow. Ms. Enright respectfully requests your approval.
Mr. Chia, can you just give me the square footage of the, you gave me horizontal, you gave me height. I just need the larger. Yeah.
How many feet by how many feet? How many square feet? Yeah, I'll let her do it.
The woodshed is 145.21 square feet.
Wow. Versus 144.
Right.
It's only a foot over, okay.
It's minimal.
Any other questions? Any other questions from the board? And you do have one open building permit, your client does. That will be closed out, I
Yes.
take it? Okay. If no other questions, can I have a motion?
Mr. Chairman, I would just move that the hearing be closed, the matter be placed on the decision calendar. Ms. Kachia, you'll be notified by mail of the board's decision once it's ready.
Second? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed, any abstentions?
Thank you.
Next, we have cases 28724 through 28824, Belmore, Lisa Roses. Variances, lot area occupied, side yards aggregate, rear yard construct, 2-story addition, 2nd-story addition, open porch, and 2-story portico, all attached to dwelling. Variance, lot area occupied, maintained 2nd-story addition, overhang, attached to dwelling, also known as 1910 Allison Drive.
Should I start? Good afternoon, members of the board. My name is Ashley Lowe from Mark Anthony Architects. Hello again. Our office is located at 1563 Belmore Avenue in Belmore, New York. I am here today representing for our clients Lisa Rose and Gary Smith, who are the owners and occupants of the subject property located at 1910 Allison Drive, which is a Residence B zone. Mr. Smith is here with me today. We are here as a result of an application for a proposed 1st and 2nd floor addition, porch with 2-story portico, and interior alterations, as well as an application to maintain an existing dormer addition, existing finished storage basement, garage conversion, and interior alterations. The maintain application was denied for lot coverage, having a lot coverage of 28.24%, which exceeds the maximum allowed coverage of 27.25.
Yeah.
28.24. And it requires 0.74% of relief. Yeah. The proposed application was also denied for lot coverage. It exceeds the maximum allowed lot coverage of 27.5%, having a lot coverage of 40%, for which we require 12.5% of relief.
Ms. Lowe, so can you just tell us the lot coverage of everything? Is that the 40?
Yes,
Oh, so the 28 is not really too relevant.
it's
Okay.
just for the maintain.
Okay, so 40 point what?
Just 45, yeah.
Say it again.
Just 40.0.
Oh, okay, I'm sorry, I thought you
It's
had.
okay.
Okay,
And
keep
we
going.
require 12.5% of relief. Can I continue?
Yeah, keep going.
Additionally, the side yard setback of 4.8 feet is less than the minimum required side yard setback of 5 feet, for which we require just 0.2 feet of relief. As a result, the aggregate side yard setback is also affected, having a proposed aggregate of 13.82, which is less than the minimum required of 15 feet. For this item, we are requesting just 1.18 feet of relief. Lastly, the proposed rear yard setback of 15.3 feet is less than the minimum required rear yard setback of 25 feet, for which we request 9.7 feet of relief. We would like to note that the home is not out of character for the neighborhood and will fit in aesthetically with the surrounding houses. My clients have owned the house since 1990 and are doing this addition because Mr. Smith has been diagnosed with MS, and it will ultimately allow him to turn this area of the home into his sanctuary. As his MS progresses, he will be home much more. He has spoken with his neighbors and they have no complaints on the proposed project. Additionally, I would also like to add that there is an HVAC and fence permit that has recently been issued by the building department, which will be closed out once all the applications have been approved.
So nothing, yeah, okay.
40% coverage, Belmore's pretty high.
It says on your plans that you're going to remove the above-ground pool, existing
Yes.
pergola. When will
Yes.
that happen?
When construction starts, they'll probably do it all at once, right?
Yeah, hi, I'm Gary Smith, and I'm a resident at 1910 Allison Drive. We're just waiting for once we get permits, all that stuff will come out, because we need to take it out no matter what to do the construction.
Are you using the pool now?
Yes, we were. I mean, it's covered for the winter, but it will come down this season.
Before.
Do you know if it has a permit on it?
That I don't know.
What is that?
I don't see it.
Could you give it to Patrick? He knows how to make it quiet.
It's an above-ground pool, so I don't know if they had a permit on it.
It does require a permit. Is it on the sheet, Mr.
No,
Reed?
it's not.
It's not.
Is the,
Okay. The swimming pool does not have a permit, so we don't know if it's safe to keep it there.
enclosure-wise,
Yeah, I mean,
attractive nuisance.
right.
Yeah, I mean,
Well, it'll be down before you would open it for the season this season.
Yeah, well,
anyway,
it
right?
will be down.
It won't be
so-
opened again. The pool.
Okay, good. That's a promise.
Yeah,
You got it.
we're just waiting for.
Keep the cover on it
approval,
or
so-
drain it.
Well done.
Thank you.
So, I think I understand, but one of the areas that's highlighted on the site plan, it says proposed two-story addition, and it says proposed fireplace bump out. But in addition to that, there's also an area saying existing one-story to be removed. So do I take it that there's a one-story addition there that's gonna be completely taken off, and then a two-story
be rebuilt.
addition?
Yes,
And
so
it's in
that's,
the, is the footprint of the addition that's to be removed, is that the same footprint that will be the two-story addition? So it's basically just another level of something that already is there?
yes.
But you're gonna update?
Yeah, we're gonna be taking it down. One, was not built correctly, even though it's permitted, and we have a CO for it. They built it so close to the ground, we have problems with carpet ants nonstop in that room. And the second reason was, I wanted to put a basement in under it, you see on that drawing. And I can't do that with that building there, so that building's gonna come down. And then the second story will become a bathroom for me that will be more handicap accessible, so that's why that second story, that's all one
Are you
master
putting
bedroom.
in some sort of elevator or other?
I haven't, it's not in the works of right now, only because there's no real place to lay it out on the first floor. But we always talked about maybe putting the chair up on the side of the stairs. That would bring me up to the second floor. But that will give us a bathroom that I can roll in a wheelchair if need be.
Yeah, I just asked because we had a similar application last week with the same medical issue. And they're trying to do something they're taking up an addition, putting a two-story with a bedroom and a bathroom, and they're trying to find a place to put also an elevator for, when it becomes necessary. But all this, it's very surprisingly similar, so that's why I asked
Right.
about that.
We're not, but that's not a bad advice. So.
Not a bad idea.
Do you have anything you'd like to add?
I do not.
Okay, any other questions from the board? If not, do I have a motion?
Move the hearing be closed, the matter be placed on the decision calendar. Ms. Lowe, you and your client will be notified by mail of the board's decision once it's ready. Thank you, folks. Have a nice day.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed, any abstentions?
Next, we have case 28924 near Valley Stream, Samina Nagaria. Variances, lot area occupied, side yards aggregate, maintain vestibule attached to dwelling, and maintain detached garage with roof over patio, also known as 35 Radstock Avenue.
Tina Pangallo, 549 Hempstead Turnpike, West Hempstead, New York, 11552. Good afternoon, Chairman, members of the board.
Good afternoon.
I'm representing Samina Nigera of 35 Radstock Avenue in Valley Stream. The property is located on the west side of Radstock Avenue, 298.88 feet south of Carolyn Avenue in Residence B. We're requesting a variance to maintain a detached garage with a roof over a patio attached that violate the lot coverage allowed and a side yard vestibule that violates the lot coverage allowed and side yard aggregate required. The detached garage with a roof over violates the maximum lot coverage allowed of 27.5%. The lot coverage provided is 29.3%. The side vestibule, which is about 14 square feet, violates the lot coverage allowed, and the side yard aggregate required of 15 feet. The side yard aggregate provided is 12.15 feet. The Nigaras purchased the home in January 2023, and there were 2 open permits for a dormer and a detached garage. They were given credit to handle this themselves, and they're trying to get everything closed out. The dormer permit has been closed, along with a permit for the interior finish. There was an open permit for 1951 from a detached garage. The original application states to construct a 1-car detached garage and open porch attached to the garage. The open porch attached to the garage was then crossed out on the application, and the permit was issued for a garage only. The property card indicates in 1954 there was a detached garage and porch attached, so the structure has been there for approximately 70 years. If they filed for this at the time, they would have made the 30% lot coverage allowed. The property card shows the 3x4 side vestibule was there in 1964. As far as we know, there have been no complaints from the neighbors, and we're respectfully asking the board to grant this variance. That's my case.
All the open building permits will be closed out, should this be granted?
Yes, the dormer has been closed, and the interior finish has been closed. The garage will be closed, will be, I guess, voided to be superseded by this garage.
Okay. Any questions from the board? If not, do I have a motion?
Move the hearing be closed, the matter be placed on the decision calendar. Ms. Pangallo, you'll be notified by mail of the board's decision once it's rendered.
Thank you very much. Have a nice
All
day.
in favor?
Aye.
Moving right along. Here comes Dick Barry. Let's see the subdivision. Thank you. Is Mr. Nelson going to testify?
He'll sit over
I'm sure he will. I want to get him to sign in. And Mr. Verdi as well.
Next, we have case 29024 West Hempstead, Verdiland Homes Incorporated. Variances, subdivision of lot area, front yard setback on Mahopac Road and Scanatalis Avenue. Rear yard, construct dwelling, plot B, rehearing from case 662-20, northeast corner of Mahopac Road and Scanatalis Avenue. Also, case 29124 West Hempstead, Verdiland Homes Incorporated. Variances, subdivision of lot area, front width from and on street line to front setback line, average front yard setback, construct dwelling, plot A, rehearing from case 663-20, east side Mahopac Road, 51.72 feet north of Scanatalis Avenue.
For the applicant, Robert W. O'Brien, 877 North Corona Avenue, North Valley Stream, New York.
Steve Laverty, 1374 Fox Street, Elmont, New York, 11003.
Good afternoon, Chair and members of the board. Today I represent the applicant Verdiland Homes, INC, with respect to the instant application for a 2-lot subdivision in the hamlet of West Hempstead, the Lakeview section. At the outset, I'd like to move to have the 2 cases consolidated and heard as one.
So moved.
Thank you. As noted on the record, to my left is Steve Laverty, the principal of Verdiland Homes, to answer any questions the board may have about the proposed construction and design of the new houses. This is a rehearing of cases 662 of 2020 and 663 of 2020 that were granted by the board on December 2nd, 2020 in favor of an entity named Jabez, J-A-B-E-Z, Home Equities, Inc. Although I don't have copies of the actual decisions from those grants, Mr. Owens was nice enough to provide me with the printout history of the case and resolutions, which I'd like to submit to the board as the applicant's Exhibit 1.
We'll accept those in evidence.
Okay, and I also like to submit, that was part of that record, the testimony from the real estate expert, Barry Nelson, from the hearing as Exhibit 2, and I'll touch on that as part of my presentation. Verdiland purchased the premises in April of 2023 and now the owner thereof, so that's why the application is in Verdiland's name. The property that is the subject of the application is at the northeast corner of Mayapack Road and Scanatellis Avenue in Lakeview. I hope I pronounced it right. That's the best I could do. Oh,
Good job.
I know, it's not an easy one. According to the assessor's website, the premises has approximately 9,700 square feet of area, and just for the record, it's known on the Nassau County tax map as Section 35, Block 458, and lots 734 to 738. The parcel as it currently exists is irregular with 101.41 feet of frontage on Mayapack Road, 89.16 feet of frontage on Scanatellis Avenue, an eastern property line of 100 feet, and a northerly property line of 106.01 feet. Property is vacant land and there are no improvements thereon. I took a ride by this morning, as the board knows, is my practice. I like to go by the properties, be able to answer any questions the board may have. It looked like there were steps, so maybe at one time there was a house there. My client is nodding yes, but I think it's been vacant for a number of years. In any event, the applicant is proposing constructing 2 new one-family dwellings on the premises. In the application for case number 290 of 24, the corner property on, 290 of 24, the corner property on the southerly portion known as Lot B. The proposed parcel for the new one-family dwelling totals 4,766 square feet. That parcel has 51.72 feet of frontage on Mayapack Road, 89.1 feet of frontage on Scanatellis Avenue, an east property line of 51 feet, and north property line of 97.75 feet. The variance is needed, therefore, for subdivision of lot area, front yard setbacks on both Mayapack Road and Scanatellis Avenue, and rear yard. In the application for case number 291 of 24, the northerly portion of the premises known as Lot A, the applicant is requesting permission to build a one-family dwelling on a parcel consisting of 4,992 square feet with 49.69 feet of frontage on Mayapack Road, side property lines of a 97.75 and 106.01 feet, and a rear property line of 49 feet. The variance is needed, therefore, for subdivision of lot area, front width from and on street line to front setback line, and average front yard setback. If the board is inclined to grant the application or re-grant the application, the applicant is amenable to all reasonable and customary conditions that the board has been known to impose to ensure that both new homes are utilized only as one-family dwellings and not multiple occupancy ones. As I noted to the board earlier, I made a practice of physical inspection of the area. I actually drove by this morning. It's a somewhat old area, a lot of capes, some in great shape, some okay, various conditions. I read the testimony that was presented back in 2020. I think that testimony fairly and accurately reflects the property and the area as it exists now. And it is my belief that if the board were to grant it, it would be a plus for the area.
What is the difference between this plan and the previous application?
One second.
Of course.
Mr. Laveri is just checking right now. I'm not aware of any difference, but he.
Yeah, there's
So, okay.
differences. The foundation size is exactly, should be the same.
The footprint is exactly the same.
But the house design is different.
House design, right now.
And
They are the same. They are the
So
same architect, yes.
This is the exact
Yep.
same house that was
Yep.
previously granted,
Yes, correct.
even with the bathroom in the basement?
Yeah,
Really?
but that's what was on there, yeah. There's a small little half bath in the basement.
That was granted by the board?
What's that?
That was granted by the board?
Can you imagine?
I had to add that.
Yeah, of course.
Are the houses identical to one
Houses
another?
identical, they're substantially, being a lawyer, they're substantially similar.
To one another, I mean?
Oh,
Or do I need to look at both
one
plans?
second.
maybe we should look at the old ones. Are the locations the same as they were in Jabez Preserve? Are the locations of the houses the same?
I don't, if the board promises not to ask what the minor differences are, my client says they're just minor
Well,
differences. They're basically the same. And I say that jokingly.
It looks like they're the same.
And the location of the houses on the lots are exactly the same as the,
We believe so, yes.
You believe? Well, maybe Mr. Laverty could say yes or no.
I will definitely defer.
yeah.
The variances had to change, so to rehearing of the case, if you think about it, it would be the same or very similar.
Yeah, I know, but the dimensions of the,
Oh, yeah,
magnitude of the
footprint is the
variance
same.
could have changed.
It looks like we maintained everything the same as it was.
Could you speak into the microphone,
It
Mr.
it
Verdi?
looks like we maintained exactly the same way it was. I'm looking at the old composite. Old composite made by Precision Surveys, dated November 8th of 2018, and it looks exactly the same. The setbacks.
So we
the
have a
side
survey
yards.
that's now 6 years old, and it was used then, and Mr. Laverty is
Okay.
saying that survey sets forth the plot plan.
I may have missed it, but
How do we get
why are
back?
you here today and why wasn't it constructed previously
Uh,
under the other grant?
Apparently,
Ran out
there
of
was a
money.
different applicant, and I believe their time ran out, and they sold the property to Mr. Laverty, and
With
with the time
approvals.
having run out, they could have, in fairness, paid for it, gotten an extension.
Okay.
If the board was inclined to do so. But we're not aware of any exterior factor that somehow caused it to be denied or not built.
And your client would agree to the same previously imposed conditions?
Yes.
Owner occupied all the
That-
stuff that we did?
I don't know, I didn't read a detailed decision, but I know the board customary, we definitely would agree to that.
How about the bathroom in the basement? That's just,
Let the board
They'll
put
agree
it in
to
themselves.
accepting the prior grant.
Yeah.
Any other questions or comments from the board? Cynical
As I
or
get
not.
older, a bathroom in the basement is a good idea.
I
At
hear
least
you.
a half bath.
with
Depends
with
on
an
what
escalator.
part of the
But
house
I
you
won't go
live
any
in.
further than that. And that's our case.
Any other questions from the board? If not, do I have a motion?
Move that the hearing be closed, the matter be placed on the decision calendar. Mr. O'Brien, Mr. Verdi, you'll both receive a copy of the board's decision by mail once it's rendered. Thank you.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstentions?
Next, we have cases 292-24 through 292-24 through 294-24. Elmont Gospel Assembly Church. Special exception to use part of premises to construct two-story building for proposed religious use with rear and side yard variances. Use variance to install dumpster enclosure with rear yard variance. Waive off-street parking. Special exception to park in Res B district in front yard setback. Special exception to maintain dwelling on a lesser lot in conjunction with proposed religious use. Also known as 1859 Dutch Broadway.
Good afternoon, Mr. Chairman, members of the board. William Bonesso for Chili Deegan Tirana, 333 Earl Ovington Boulevard, Uniondale, New York. Here on behalf of the applicant, Gospel Assembly Church. Seated to my left is Pastor Narain Richard. He is the pastor of the church and congregation. Seated to my right is Mr. Wayne Muller of R&M Engineering. And we are here this afternoon, as noted by Mr. Owens, for variance and special exception relief in order to permit the utilization of 1859 Dutch Broadway in Elmont as a place of worship, a religious use, and to construct and modify buildings on the property. Pastor Narain, Pastor Richard rather, came to me probably 5 years ago with this project, and at the time he was represented by a different architect, and it took a very long time to get the applications actually filed and denied. Took a new architect to do that, but that has been done now, and now we are before the board for this relief. The pastor, as he would tell you if you have any questions, his congregation has been in this immediate vicinity since 1993. If you look at the radius map, the property that's involved here is basically a 121-foot wide portion of property along the southerly side of Dutch Broadway. Part of it has a residence on it. The other part is basically a kind of a dirt field. That is the site, that dirt field is where they propose to build their new sanctuary. But up until this time, to the west, if you look at where it says Gospel Assembly Church, tax lot number 38, which is address number 1863, that is where they have been since 1993 in a converted dwelling operating their congregation. It predated the requirement that they come for a special exception, that they come to the board and ask for a special exception for a religious use, and they have been using it since that time. So they are already a part of this community. As you'll hear, they own the residential lots, the 2 residential lots on both sides of the subject property, and have people who reside there. And they intend to operate the new facility as they operate the existing facility. They have a relatively small congregation. They conduct Wednesday evening services from 7:30 to 8:30. It's a prayer meeting with typically less than 25 people. Saturday evenings from 7:30 to 9 p.m. they have worship, and they typically will have less than 35 people in the sanctuary. On Sunday mornings they have services from 11 a.m. till 12:30 p.m. main worship service, and that is their largest attendance date. They might have 60 people present in the sanctuary. A few times a year they have used and will use the basement in the new facility for a dinner after worship services. Could be Thanksgiving, could be around Christmas time, other times of the year. But it's typically the people who have been at Sunday service, and the largest crowd they've gotten, from what I'm told, is probably about 40 people present for an event like that.
Mr. Modesto?
Yes.
I just want to follow along. So between the photographs, the site plan, and Google Earth or whatever that is, can you just see from there the house I'm showing you? It has the peak in the middle.
Yeah.
So is that one of the houses that's a part of is that what's currently being used?
Okay, that's 1859.
Yes. Wait. And that is?
That is going to remain, but it's going to be modified, correct? It's going to be reduced slightly, and it's going to remain as the pastor's residence.
So that's part of the existing church?
Actually, no, that's presently a residence, and it's going to remain a residence, but for the pastor. What the existing church is right next door.
Right next door with the sign. That was what was
Correct,
confusing
with
me.
the sign, 1863. That residence they have been using since 1993. That is going to be converted back to a single-family residence, and we would accept a condition to that effect. They own that
A
property as well.
single-family residence for who?
It's going to be just, here,
We'll just turn it back to the tax roll and
Okay, so it'll be a rental or something.
regular.
So you'll live here.
Yes.
That'll be a rental or you'll sell it, but it'll be back on the tax rolls.
Right.
And then next to that is where you're building the new
The
structure.
proposed building would be on the vacant lot, which is,
On the other side of your residence.
right, which would be lot 40.
I see.
But we want to get both together.
This is gonna become a rental. This is the pastor and there's the new structure.
There is no vacant lot.
Yeah, it's this, it's that parking area.
Oh, I see. All right.
Narain Richard, 1841 Dutch Broadway, Elmont, New York, 11003.
Pastor Rich, elaborating on what you just indicated, right now, the 2.5-story frame residence that is at 1859, that will remain a residence and it'll be your residence.
Clergy resident.
Clergy residence. Now, the new facility is a 2-story building with a basement, and on the lower level, we'll have basically about 1,000 square foot reception area for this basement for events like those dinners that they would have occasion to have. Only a warming kitchen will be down there. Those mechanical rooms, there's men's and women's bathrooms down there, and then an elevator. Is that correct?
Yes.
Now, on the main level, the first floor level, that will be the main sanctuary. You'll have, again, a lobby, you'll have a men and women's restroom with an elevator leading down and up, and then you have the sanctuary with fixed seating, correct?
That's what we propose, yes.
And then the second floor is basically used as the pastor's offices and administrative offices, a small lobby area, and a library associated with religious use. Is that correct?
That is correct.
Okay. And then, as we also indicated, 1863, which is currently where you have been conducting services, that will be converted back to a single-family residence, put back on the tax rolls, and utilized solely as that.
Yes.
Now, in terms of the relief required, in addition to the special use we need for the place of worship, we do need some dimensional relief, we need some small setback reliefs, and I would remind the board that on both sides of this property are properties owned by the congregation, so there's no objection on any part to the
Wait,
relief.
they own property on the other side of the vacant lot too?
Yes, correct.
The
They own the
property-
two properties. If you look on the radius map, they own, or members of their congregation own 1847 and 1841 as you head east
What
towards
is-
towards
what
the
is-
small shopping center.
What is 1847 used as?
Those are just residences, correct?
Well, one is owned by the entity, so is it a rental or?
No, that's where, 1841 is where I live.
Wait, I thought you lived in 18, I think it's, I can't see the number, 1859.
No, we're going to.
So is 1841 going back on the tax rolls too?
Yes, that actually was bought in my son's name, but for the purposes of clergy use, we had to change the title deed for the exemption. But that will go back to the tax roll to my son. And he's on the mortgage for that.
So the dwelling on a lesser lot, Mr. Vanesso, that is the subject property that the new structure is going to be on, and we're carving it off of 1859 or off of 1847?
We're carving, if, in a sense, it's 1859 and 1853. There's actually, the vacant lot is 1853, am I correct?
Well, that's what I was told recently. We did not have an assigned number, as far as I know.
But the lesser lot, the dwelling to be maintained on a lesser lot is the dwelling on 1859,
Correct.
not on the other side.
No.
Okay.
That's, the other side will be where the sanctuary is constructed.
No, the other side is Debbie Rupchen's house.
Yes.
Yep, that's not being touched.
I understand. I just wanted to.
Tax lot 40, I should say, is, if you look at tax lot 40, that's where the sanctuary will be built.
Right, but it's being carved off of 39, and it's 39 that needs maintained on the lesser lot.
Correct, correct. As I was saying, additional relief needed is a parking variance. We are providing 15 parking spaces on the property. However, those parking spaces are all within the Residence B district and need the relief from the board for that. There are also certain spaces that are not compliant in terms of dimensions. And then there's the maintain the dwelling on the lesser lot. So that's the relief required. But as you'll hear from Mr. Muller, in terms of the parking variance, there is, in addition to the parking that we will be providing, there's ample parking along Dutch Broadway. I'll get to that in a moment. I'm sorry, the other matter is the variance to permit the dumpster in the rear of the property, which is technically in the Residence B district.
And that's a use. What is the square footage of the lesser lot of 1859 if this is granted?
I
if you know?
believe it's 10,000.
No, the lesser lot. Like what would we be approving the house on?
61 by, I get it at its deepest, it's an odd shape.
138 at 158.
What's the size of this lot?
So it's over 6,000. Is it over 6,000?
Yeah, there should be 10,006.
On the residual lot, once it's carved off, the house,
Yes.
the lesser lot the house would be on is, looks like it's over 6.
8,000.
That's about 10,000.
Yes, this one.
So where the 1859 is about 10,000.
Without lot 40.
With all about 40.
Okay.
In total, I think it's about close to 19,000.
It's 8,000 and change. Yeah, okay. The church lot will be 8,437 square feet. And the dwelling will be on 10,006 square feet.
All right, still very large. Yeah.
Yes, still oversized.
So the lesser lot.
But it is a lesser lot, because
Yeah.
the CO right now applies to the entire property.
Right, but
That's
you would have
why
that as of right.
Right, that's why the building department
Got it.
requires it as a form of relief. So unless the board has any questions about the operation or the proposed development, I'll turn it over to Mr. Muller to address the parking variance. Yes,
Yeah, I
ma'am?
have a
Go ahead.
question that is, I need to know it. So obviously, right now, your congregation are presumably in the lot that you want to now put a structure on. And I know you proposed a few parking spots there if you get relief for the Residence B and stuff. How many cars over time, I know you'll probably get into some, how many congregants and how many cars went with them did you used to have in that lot? And I assume, unless I assume incorrectly, I assume you expect to have that many congregants go forward, if not a few more over time.
Yes.
Right now, the way you use the property right now, how many people typically park in that area?
It's about 15 car parking max.
15?
Generally,
15.
it's less than that, 15 max, because I live at 1841, I just walk. My associate lives at 1847, so they don't need to park on the lot.
Do you have weddings, funerals, birthday parties, christenings, any of those things?
We have had maybe 2 weddings we have had since I've been there.
How long have you
How
been there?
long is that?
I've been there since 1993.
Okay, and when you, so it's,
Because it's not big enough for a wedding, it's not big enough for
well, the new
events.
place will be.
Well, slightly, very slightly. Yes. It's always in rented facilities, catered facilities for weddings. Christening is very minimal.
So, Mr. Mueller, when you give us testimony, can you tell us at least a little bit about, like, besides the people coming on Sunday and for the regular prayer service, whenever they are, whatever other meetings, can you address, the excess parking available potentially, and if they were to have a wedding of sorts or whatever, how's that gonna be? Sounds like it's not very often, but we gotta figure you're gonna do that, and if you get a new facility, maybe you can have, it's a nice thing for a church to be able to have those things, so just go over that so we get some picture.
Just to let you know, we have an upcoming wedding in June, but that's in the Dominican Republic.
Okay.
And we will have another wedding in September, and that will be done at another location.
Well,
So-
that's because you don't have your new facility. I
Right.
mean, it seemed to me it might be nice to have it there, but anyway, all right.
Maybe the congregants will drive to the new wedding in the Dominican Republic.
Based on our track history, our people move out of state quite often. We have actually reduced in the number of attendees. The traffic.
All right, well, I would assume that you would want that option, and I don't see why
Well,
it
it
wouldn't be
would be.
reasonable. I just want to make sure, like, we need to make the record for where things would go.
On the dwelling that's going to be converted from the church, the pastor, I'll call him with all due respect, is going to live there, correct?
No, that's.
No, the pastor is going to live in the building that is on 1859, the residence that's there currently.
Right. How many people will be with him, and is it just gonna be you and you're not gonna rent out?
No, my
You don't
wife
need to know
and,
too much about your living
yeah,
space.
my wife and I, and probably my sister. My son lives at 1841, where I currently live, which is considered the clergy residence at the moment.
But that's going to go back on the tax roll, but
Right.
he may continue to live there. That's his.
Yes, and he's not married, he's been alone, pretty much.
Well, maybe you can have his wedding at the first one. And
Well,
then you
if
can christen
you-
your grandchildren.
We can find a bride, probably in this room.
Pastor. And I'm sorry, the 1863 where you currently operate the church, that will be occupied by, do you have somebody who's going to be occupying that? Or
Yes, a member of the church probably,
rent
yeah, would be,
That's also going to be go back.
that will go back to the tax roll.
Right.
And the actual church, what is the occupancy that's proposed
The
for
new
that?
church.
The new one?
I think about 90 seating. About 90. Sanctuary.
Total occupant load is 206.
206.
All right, I think we're ready to hear from Mr. Mueller. We always love to hear from Mr. Mueller.
Oh, thank you.
Speak for
Terrific.
yourself. Speak for
Mueller
yourself.
qualified on
Mr.
many,
Mueller.
many occasions. No, go ahead.
Mr. Mueller, you've been qualified on any number of occasions as a traffic and parking expert since the last, and you've testified by this board on many, many occasions. Since the last time we qualified you as an expert in parking and traffic, have any of your qualifications changed for the worse?
No.
Okay, then you are free to testify as an expert on parking and traffic in this case.
Thank you. For the record, Wayne Mueller, Robinson & Mueller Engineering, offices at 50 Elm Street, Huntington, New York. For the record, I'd like to submit copies of an analysis that we prepared dated April 29th, 2024, and just briefly summarize the results contained therein. I believe the subject development has been adequately discussed by Mr. Vanesso as far as what the plans are to construct the new church and the way that the residences will be reoccupied as such. As depicted on the plans prepared by Todd O'Connell, architect, 65 parking spaces are required for the use in accordance with the requirements of the building zone ordinance, and 15 spaces are provided on the subject property. Based on our discussions with representatives of the church, typically the church holds services on Wednesday evenings between 7:30 and 8:30. They have events on Saturdays between 7:30 p.m. and 9 p.m. And again on Sunday between 11 and 12:30 p.m. they have services. In order to determine the level of activity that's generated by the church, because it is existing, we performed observations on Wednesday, April 10th, 2024, between the hours of 6:30 p.m. and 9 p.m. On Saturday, April 13th, 2024, between the hours of 6:30 p.m. and 9:30 p.m. And again on Sunday, April 14th, 2024, between the hours of 10 a.m. to 1:30 p.m. We observed the level of parking activity on Dutch Broadway, both the north and south sides between Tuxedo Drive and Virginia Avenue, and the activity on the various different lots that are currently controlled or occupied by church members and or the church itself. That information is summarized in the tables that are appended to my report, and specifically in the appendix of my report there are two exhibits. Exhibit EX1, which depicts the areas in which we observe the on-street parking and off-street parking, and the Exhibit EX2, which shows the regulations of parking that currently exist on these sections of Dutch Broadway. As you can see from a review of the information presented on Figure EX2, there are no parking areas on the north side of Dutch Broadway between the hours of 8 a.m. to 5 p.m. school days. However, those regulations do not impact the activity at the church because the church services that occur on Wednesdays occur after school's out and the regulations are no longer in place. Based on our observations, the peak level of activity that we observed associated with the church occurred between 7:50 p.m. and 8:30 p.m., in which there were 6 vehicles parked on the lot that's currently the vacant lot, which is 2 doors down from the church facility itself. On Saturday, we saw 12 vehicles parked in that lot, and on Sunday, we saw 13. Within the study area, that being on Dutch Broadway, including the subject property, there are a total of 95 parking spaces that are provided, and as you can see, the level of occupancy that currently exists within the area is relatively low, somewhere around 12%. We then factored in the reoccupation of some of the residential uses and found that we would anticipate that there would be no more than 16 vehicles parked on a Sunday, which can easily be accommodated on street and on site. So therefore, we would then not anticipate any significant impact to parking conditions in and around the subject property and specifically on Dutch Broadway. We also observed that the level of activity that was generated during the various different times on Wednesday, Saturday, and Sunday, and what we found was that the level of activity commensurate with the level of parking activity is relatively low, and we did observe a relatively high quantity of people that were walking to the subject facility, primarily from the west. I know that the pastor had indicated that there are parishioners that own homes on Dutch Broadway, a couple lots down from the church. They walk to the facility. There's within the neighborhood that's located to the north of the subject property, there are also parishioners that walk to the facility. In addition, the pastor's son and or other relatives walk to the church. So there's a good synergy between the people who live in the area and the church, in so much that everybody doesn't walk. So the level of activity that's generated by the church, in my opinion, is relatively low. If there was to be a wedding that was to be held at the subject property, as demonstrated by our studies, there is a significantly large quantity of available parking on Dutch Broadway on both the north and south sides, and there are crosswalks that are located both east and west of the subject property within a few hundred feet that people who did desire to park on the north side of Dutch Broadway wouldn't necessarily have to cross. They could walk to the crosswalk and walk around. So therefore, based on the analysis that we've performed It is my professional opinion that the granting of this application will not significantly impact parking conditions in and around the subject property, and that the level of activity generated by the church in both its current and future states will not create any undue traffic congestion or hazard. Thank you.
Mr. Chairman, we've already submitted a large number of support letters that are in the record.
You have.
Yes.
And I also note the lack of any letters in opposition.
That's true, and we also had a lot of people sign in today. I'm not going to call them up to speak, but I would just ask them by a show of hands, people who support the application. Thank you.
Well done, Mr. Bonasso.
Beyond that, recommendation from the Nassau County Planning Commission is local determination. We would ask that the board grant the applications at hand.
Okay. Any other questions from the board?
I move the hearing be closed, the case placed on the decision calendar. When the board renders its decision, you will be notified. Thank you all for
Second,
coming.
all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed, any abstentions?
Thank you.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
That was quite an answer.
Next, we have case 138124, Elmont, Roberto Alarcon. Variances, subdivision of lot area, front width from and on street line to front setback line, maintained dwelling and detached garage on a lesser lot, also known as 180 Hillsborough Avenue. There's also another companion case, which is case 106-22, Elmont Vertiland Homes Incorporated. Variances, subdivision of lot area, front width from and on street line to front setback line, construct dwelling and garage. West side of Hillsborough Avenue, 400 feet south of Atherton Avenue.
Yes, for the applicant, Robert W. O'Brien, 877 North Corona Avenue, North Valley Stream, New York.
It's Barry Nelson, 220 Pettit Avenue, Belmore, New York, 11710. Good afternoon.
Steve Laverty, 1374 Fox Street, Elmont, New York, 11003.
Good afternoon, Chair, again, members of the board. Today I represent the applicants, Vertiland Homes and Roberto Alarcon, with respect to the instant application to subdivide a parcel of land on Hillsborough Avenue in Elmont and to construct a one-family dwelling on one portion there and to maintain a one-family dwelling and garage on the other portion. At this point, I would like to move to have the two cases consolidated and heard as one.
Move.
As noted on the record, to my right is real estate expert Barry Nelson, who's prepared to testify regarding the nature and character of the area and that the benefit of the application to the applicants outweighs any detriment to the surrounding community. And to my left is Steve Laverty, the principal of Vertiland Homes, to answer any questions that the board may have regarding the application. Just to set the tone, as the board will note from the calendar, we started this case in, I believe it was January of 2022, been adjourned a number of times, and we're finally able to go forward today. And the operative number, so usually you're talking about houses and property and bathrooms and dormers and all sorts of things, but the big number we're going to talk about here today, because it can get confusing, is the number 4 and the different ways you can make 4. It's not a proposition at a craps table. It is, but you have 4 plus 0, 3 plus 1, and 2 plus 2. So I'm going to try. The history is a little convoluted, a little confusing, but I'm going to try to clarify it so everybody understands it. First, the property that is the subject of the application is on the west side of Hillsborough Avenue in Elmont, approximately 400 feet south of Atherton Avenue. It is known on the Nassau County tax map as Section 32, Block 448, and lots 26, 27, 28, and 29. That's number 4, the 4 tax lots. and the southerly half is known, where there's a house right now, is 180 Hillsborough Avenue. That is going to remain. That's Mr. Alican's application to maintain that on the lesser lot, Ms. Pellegrini. But, so the parcel that currently exists, perfect rectangle. 80 feet of frontage, 80-foot real property line, 100 feet of depth on each side. On that on the southerly side that Mr. Alicon owns is currently a one-family house and attached garage that Mr. Alicon is seeking to maintain on tax lots 28 and 29. There's two. That dwelling that has since been improved, a garage that has since been altered, and a chicken coop, which was removed, were apparently constructed on the property 100 years ago, 1924. I would like to submit at this time, it's been marked for identification, is applicant's Exhibit 1, which is a Department of Buildings letter dated April 30th of 2022, testing to the fact that the dwelling and garage were approximately 14 years of age in 1938. Now, this is where it starts to get confusing and that number 4 comes back into play. As the board is aware, those of you who do real estate, and those of you who have been on the board for a long period of purposes, logic would have told you that in this case, there would either have been one tax bill for the entire 80 by 100 property, tax lots 26 to 29, or in the alternative, two bills, one for each of the 40-foot groupings, 40 by 100s, one for 26 and 27, and one for tax lots 28 and 29. Unfortunately, logic was absent from school that day because there is one tax bill for the improved lot for lots 27 through 29, and another one for the 20 by 100 unimproved lot of 26. So this was not a problem for 91 years of existence of this property, as per the search provided by Spano Abstract, because there was nothing of note between 1924 and 1950, and all tax lots were in common ownership from 1950 to 2015. As a result of a mortgage foreclosure in 15, apparently the mortgage was only recorded, although the person owned all tax lots, the mortgage was only recorded against the bigger one, the three. I see you nodding, Mr. It is an amazing history, because I've never seen anything like it. So, an entity by the name of Christopher Enterprises, Inc. Christopher is Mr. Laverty's contract vendor and was the contract vendor to Mr. Alicon, purchased the 60 by 100 from the referee. Again, that's 3 of the 4 lots. Somehow realizing it, they approached the prior owner, paid that prior owner $20-something thousand, and she sold them. So back again, we're back to 4, which is great. Okay. So now we go to August of 2017. I'm not involved in any of this, but I find out, as we do our search, Christopher Enterprises, which now owns all 4 lots through the foreclosure and subsequent purchase, sells the improved 40 by 100 to Mr. Alicon for the sum of $375,000, and essentially reserving to itself title to lots 26 and 27. But, as we know, the tax bill runs against all 3. So what I found out, according to Mr. Alicon's now current attorney, didn't represent him back then, a true gentleman, excellent lawyer by the name of Luis Flores, that apparently Mr. Alicon was promised at the closing by his seller, oh yeah, we'll take care of it. We'll take care of it after the fact. We'll get the taxes apportioned, because he's a fireman. He, in addition to wanting, to lower his taxes, he has exemptions coming to him. Except they never did anything. So we were hoping to get back to 2 versus 2. Now, Mr. Laverty enters into a contract with Christopher Enterprises to buy the northerly 40 by 100, subject to variances, and he doesn't know about the apportionment or lack thereof, and the problem, And we start this case. That's when we came before the board in January of 2022, and the board picked up on it and essentially said, listen, if we were to grant your client's application, we're going to make Mr. Alacon's house illegal. It'll be on a 40, and there's no, as the letter I've submitted from the building department says, it would be, you know, it grandfathered in on a 40. So the board required that we go out, and if we wanted to go ahead with the case, we get Mr. Alacon to join in the application and be able to go forward to maintain on the 140 and construct on the other 40, which is what we're doing here today. So we didn't get there, and just to give a little bit of history, it's more about the journey than the destination at this time. As the board, as I noted to the board, we probably adjourned this case, what, 6, 7 times over the last 2 years? You'll see the numbers. And that was because Mr. Alacon had commenced a lawsuit against Christopher 9 times, okay. And a lawsuit to force them to do what they should be doing. That brings us here today. So apparently that was resolved, and Christopher said that they would take care of the costs involved and do the right thing. And here the 3 of us are trying to bring this thing to fruition. So Mr. Alacon is looking to maintain the existing dwelling and detached garage on the 40 by 100 parcel known as tax lots 28 and 29. Variance is needed to do so, a subdivision of lot area, and front width from and on street line to front setback line. Essentially, he's looking to maintain the house and garage that he purchased back 9 years ago. In case number 106 of 22, Vertiland is still seeking to construct a one-family dwelling and garage, attached garage, on the 40 by 100 parcel known as tax lots 26 and 27. In order to do so, the variance is needed. He needs variances which are for subdivision of lot area, and front width from and on the street line to the front setback line. Board is inclined to grant the applications. The applicants are amenable to all reasonable and customary conditions that the board is known to impose to ensure that both properties are used as one-family dwellings rather than multi-family ones, including an owner-occupied one. I made an inspection of the area. Mr. Nelson will go into great detail. There's a mixture of properties. It's a number of 40 by 100s in the area, the number of somewhat larger properties. This is the largest, from what I can see, this is the largest property in the radius map, and so this would be the only one that I believe would be subject to variance. It's a dead end. It abuts the cemetery. There's no through traffic coming through there. If you know Beth David Cemetery, it's been there forever and probably will be there long after we're all gone. And unless the board has any questions of me at this time, I'd like to turn it over to Ms. Nelson.
You're used to that.
I gave my name and address. I handed in some exhibits.
For the record,
I'm sorry.
you have been qualified by this board as a real estate expert in the past.
Yes, sir.
On many occasions, which gives you the right to testify as to give your opinion testimony. Right? We are free to take into account or not take into account the opinion. Since the last time you qualified as a real estate expert before this board, have any of your qualifications changed for the worse?
No, sir.
So you will then be free to testify as real estate expert once again.
Thank you. Generally, the subject property is approximately 2.5 blocks east of Elmont Road, 2 blocks south of Hempstead Turnpike, in the Elmont locale. The predominant zoning in the area would be Residence C zoning. The application comes before the board basically to maintain the existing house on the lots 40 by 100, and the northerly lots construction of a new single-family colonial house. The character of the neighborhood is 1 and 2 family homes. It is a residential C-zone which permits 2 families. To the cemetery to the south, the subject property is just about at the dead end. There are 2 houses further south of the subject property on the westerly side. The area character is 40 by 100s, 60 by 100s, and many of those 60 by 100s are lawful 2 families that have come before this board. There are some smaller lots, 30 by 100 on Rockmart Avenue to the west, as well as Terrace Avenue to the east. You'll find immediately to the north of the subject property 4 40 by 100, 4,000 square foot parcels. 2 parcels to the south. One is a 40 by 100, 4,000 square feet. And the second one would be slightly larger, 40-foot frontage, but it does pie out in the rear slightly. The easterly side, you'll see 3 40 by 100s. Number 165 Hillsborough Avenue is a 2-family by variance. Number 191, the last house on the easterly side, is a 2-family as well. The nearest subdivision that was granted would be on the east side of Rockmart Avenue, northwest of the subject property, in the subject block, and that would be number 161 and 165 Rockmart Avenue, an 80 by 100 into 2 40 by 100s. The northerly side would be the new colonial. The younger side was the house that was maintained. And that was under cases 706 and 707, August 13th, 2008. The area is 100% developed. The subject property is the largest parcel in the area. The subdivision would be on lot lines, as I mentioned, as council mentioned, 240 by 100, 4,000 square feet. The southerly parcel will maintain the detached garage for at least 2 to 4 cars on site with an oversized driveway on the northerly side. The new colonial will propose a new internal garage and a driveway for 1 car, so it'll provide for 2 cars on site as well. In my opinion, the application as set forth before the board is in keeping with the character of the neighborhood. It is the pattern of development on Hillsborough Avenue, where there's 9 out of 14 parcels, 40 by 100. 2 of the parcels that are oversized, 60 by 100 approximately, are 2-family dwellings. The entire area lends itself to this type of subdivision with about 78% of the parcels 40 by 100 or smaller, like the subject property. Values are well maintained houses. They generally range approximately $450 up to about $825,000. The new colonial will be at the higher end of values, anywhere between $780,000 and $800,000 for a new colonial. The existing house has been sold and current owners are occupying the property. In my opinion, all municipal services are available to the subject property, including fire hydrants, concrete sidewalks, and curbs. Municipal services are accessible. It will not alter or change the central character of the neighborhood, and it will infill 1 last lot on the subject street. Thank you.
That concludes.
I have a question on that case. I believe there were 3 individuals or 3 groupings of individuals who signed in, and I just took time to respond as needed.
Okay, there are 2 people in opposition, 1 person interested. Who would like to speak first? Step up to the podium, sir.
Yes, I do. Right. My name is John Orlando. I live at 175 Hillsborough Avenue, Elmont, right across the street from the vacant lot.
Right.
And my consideration, or what I'm thinking of, is the quality of life that's going to happen after this house is built. Right now, it's all curb, meaning all these cars can park there. They build a house, they're going to put a driveway. You're going to knock out parking. And believe you me, on our block, there are a lot of cars, more cars than houses. I'm just saying, that's one of my concerns.
Is that it?
Yes, for
Okay.
me,
Thank you very much.
right?
Next. Ms. Cabrera? Maybe.
Melissa Cabrera, 186 Hillsborough Avenue. That's the house just south, right next to 180. The concern I want to state is the parking, just like stated previously. The street is already congested in parking, and again, removing that parking and adding another house for residents is going to add to that congestion, which is already existing. And there's absolutely maxed out in parking. There's nothing that can be added.
Okay, thank you. Next. 186.
Hi, my name is Jameli Soris and I live in
Could you
the
speak a little louder, please, so that we can
Okay.
hear you?
My name is Jameli Soris and I live in the 191 Hillsborough Avenue.
Mhm.
Obviously because the street is too congested. That's I think better.
Okay, thank you. Mr. O'Brien?
Yes, well, is anybody else?
Oh, did you sign in?
I was the second on the list.
So you signed in as interested, right?
Yes.
What's your name?
Freddie Torres.
Oh, you're third on the list. Well, you
Okay.
need to- I'm just trying to make sure everyone who testified signed in so they get a copy of the decision. So, this is what's up now.
Yeah. You didn't check the box. 181,
The first one.
there's two Torreses. Yeah. Okay, go
Hi,
ahead.
my name is Freddie Torres.
Mhm.
My address is 181 Hillsborough Avenue, right across the street from the house that is planning to build.
Mhm.
My concern is the same as them, parking, driving, all the stuff, but besides that, I know they want to do a one-family house there. Once they sell the house, it's gonna be a bunch of people in there, and we're gonna have more problems.
Okay.
That's my concern.
He-
And I would
he's
like
not
you
in
guys to
favor.
take that on
He's
consideration.
opposed. Okay. Change that. He's not in favor. Okay, we originally had, did you check the box that you were in favor of it?
No, you checked no box.
Oh, you checked no box. Okay, all right, well, we'll straighten it out. Okay. All right. Mr. O'Brien?
Okay, I assume, is that everyone, Chair?
Yes, it is.
Okay, just a couple of things. One, it's just sort of ironic, the 186 Hillsborough is a 40 by 100 immediately to the south. Miss Laverty built that house on the 40 by.
186.
Right, just the one immediately to the south.
Which is also on a 40 by 100,
right.
you're right.
Number two, at least as far as alleviating parking, we have no problem putting a double wide driveway in. So at least alleviate some of the parking concerns for the new house, to be constructed. And, there was a point that was made about,
Wait, which house do you want to put the double on?
on the new construction, we'll put a double wide driveway. The existing house,
That'll take
Mr.
away
Nelson's
more
adding
curb.
is ready, can handle 4 cars, so we have no problem with that. And as far as the concerns about illegal multifamily dwellings, first, First, the existing house, as noted, has to be, in order to be maintained, will have to be thoroughly inspected by the building department. Second, this board puts in conditions, which my client has already agreed to, which will hopefully
No
prevent it
basement,
from
no
being
occupied.
used as an illegal multifamily dwelling. Ironically, it'll be the only house, or one of the only houses on the block that would have such conditions. That means everybody else would be able to do something different, while this one would be subject to board inspection at any time in any complaint if the owner of the property so used it. So if any house is not going to be used as an illegal multiple dwelling, it would be this one. So I believe that's our case.
Okay. Any other questions from the board? If not, do I have a motion?
Move the hearing be closed, the matter be placed on the decision calendar. Mr. O'Brien, Mr. Nelson, and everyone else who signed in on the case will receive a copy of the board's decision by mail once it is rendered. Thank you all for participating. It's been a long day, so have a safe home.
Thank you.
All in favor? Any opposed, any abstentions? We're going to take a 10-minute break to give you to give the court reporter the opportunity of flexing our hands. All right, we'll be back at just about 10 after 4.
Yeah, okay.
If you didn't have a wire, this lot is not only available to homeowners, it's available to the rest of the neighborhood. So when you take, that's my way to give them.
You're right.
No, but I understand what you're saying on
They're
that.
not allowed to go wider than.
I understand. I mean,
I know.
you know, I get it. So
Okay. Ladies and gentlemen and children of all ages.
Next, we'll be calling case 31023 East Atlantic Beach, 37 Buffalo, LC, and Kenneth Kruglich. Variances, subdivision of lot area, front width from and on street line to front setback line, lot area occupied, front yard average setback, side yards aggregate, rear yard construct dwelling with garage and second and third story decks, demolish existing dwelling, formerly known as 37 Buffalo Avenue. We also have case 31123 East Atlantic Beach, 37 Buffalo Avenue LLC, and Kenneth Kruglich. Variances, subdivision of lot area, front width from and on street line to front setback line, lot area occupied, front yards average setback, side yards aggregate, rear yard construct dwelling with garage and second and third story decks. West side of Buffalo Avenue, 230 feet south of Beach Boulevard. Finally, we have case 31223 East Atlantic Beach, 37 Buffalo Avenue LLC, and Kenneth Kruglich. Variances, subdivision of lot area, front width from and on street line to front setback line, lot area occupied, front yard average setback, side yards aggregate, rear yard construct dwelling with garage and second and third story decks. West side of Buffalo Avenue, 260 feet south of Beach Boulevard. Gentlemen, please stand.
Good afternoon, Chairman, board members. My name is Stephen Landy. I'm from the law firm of Landy Wolf PLLC, and I'm counsel to the applicant, 37 Buffalo Ave LLC, and Kenneth Kruglich, who are the owners of the property consisting of 3 lots located on the western side of 37 Buffalo Avenue in East Atlantic Beach, New York. This is section 58. I'm going to do that. This is for section 58, block 128-1, lots 64 to 66. Each of the 3 lots is a 30-foot wide and 60-foot deep lot. Seated beside me is Monty Leeper, the architect, Richard Lefkowitz, and Santos Batudwan, the principal of the co-owner of the property. The owners of the property located at 37 Buffalo Avenue are requesting variances for subdividing the subject property to create 2 separate properties with 2 separate single-family dwellings, at least one of which will be owner-occupied. Not 3 dwellings. That's important because that's what was originally contemplated. But after speaking with some of the neighbors, they made it very clear to us that that was the crux of their opposition. So we reinvented it into a 2 single dwelling project.
So there's, before us it says construct dwelling, construct dwelling, construct dwelling.
No, we're constructing 2.
I understand that. Can you tell me which case
Yes.
would then be withdrawn? Because
We have for, well, let's see which one is which, but the 2 lots, which are 64 and 65, which is the southern unit, will be the larger property.
Mr. Leeper, could you identify them as our case numbers?
Yes.
Thank you.
So 312 is the one that we are withdrawing.
312 was withdrawn.
So when you say the larger of the properties, right now is, and you called earlier the 3 lots, but isn't this just a single building lot? That's why you're here to subdivide it?
Yes, there are 3 lots.
Tax lots.
There's 3 tax lots. There's
Oh.
1 home on the 3 tax lots.
Right,
in
but
dilapidated
without a
condition.
subdivision, it's still just 1 lot?
Correct.
For the purpose, okay. So, go ahead.
We request that the two cases before you, the two separate single-family dwellings proposed on requested subdivided property be heard as one case.
So moved.
The variance request is for lots, as I just said, 64, 65, and 66, to be hereafter separated lots upon review and approval of the Nassau County Planning Commission and the Town of Hempstead Board of Zoning Appeals. This variance request seeks to create two separate lots of 30 feet wide and 60 feet wide respectively, taken from the total current width of the property, which is 90 feet. The two southern lots, currently designated as lots 64 and 65, will constitute the 60-foot lot. And the northern lot, currently designated as 66, lot 66, will constitute the 30-foot wide lot. The lots are each requested to have a variance for lot area occupied, where 35% is the maximum permitted coverage for each of the lots. We propose 67 lot area occupied for the 30-foot wide lot and 54.17 lot area occupied for the larger 60-foot lot.
The larger was, what was it?
The larger will be 54.17%,
And 68 almost on the other one.
67.9 on the other one.
Yeah.
And it says, similarly, it says proposed four-story
One will
frame.
be 4, one will be 3.
Hold
The
on.
larger one is a 4-story.
Okay, just stop for a second.
Yeah. I will.
But now I can speak to that.
Hold on just a second. So 310, I have house plans for
This is
310.
gone.
Hold on, I know.
Okay, sorry.
I have house plans for 310. Is that the 30-foot lot? Is the case 310, okay, that's the first one. Is that the one you propose as a 30-foot lot?
Yes,
And that's the one you want 68% coverage on? And you're calling that a 3-story?
yes,
And by that you mean the first floor is a FEMA floor and then 2 more?
yes, correct.
All right, you can go ahead.
The two lots are requested, and when I refer to the two lots, I now mean the 60-foot area and the 30-foot area. The two lots are requested to have a width of 30 feet and 60 feet respectively, where 50 feet is required. The proposed front yard setback is 0 feet for the planned 30-foot wide property. The proposed front yard setback is 6 inches for the proposed 60-foot wide property. Well, I said that. Okay. This was originally 3 30-foot lots.
Sir, could you come up for a moment?
We have a copy of the notice that we mailed out. Is that, that's right? Take that. Okay, so I was talking about the front yard setback earlier, and 0 feet for the 30-foot wide property is proposed. The proposed front yard setback is 6 inches for the 60-foot wide property. Now, the average front yard setback on the west side of Buffalo Avenue is 28 feet officially. However, the average front yard setback calculation includes homes adjacent to the subject property where the buildings are fronting on the next street over, which is Troy Avenue. So because those homes have backyards facing Buffalo Avenue, it skews the number significantly for the front yard average. And it appears as if those adjacent homes are fronting on Buffalo Avenue when they are not. And we have photos we can show you if that's necessary.
Can I just ask you, just to cut to the chase, to first of all ask to create a 30-foot wide lot and a 60 instead of at least coming with a 45, but then to propose the 0 front yard setback when 28's the average, regardless of the skew, I get it, and a 68% coverage on a 30-foot lot, and then a 50-something on a 60-foot lot. I mean, you're not before us all the time, but I've been here for 19 years, and I don't think I've ever seen as extreme a case as this. I get you change your request from 3 to 2, but I'm surprised you're even asking for a 30-foot lot with 68% coverage and a 0 setback in the front yard.
I think you'd be interested to know that if you just take a walk up Buffalo,
I've been
the setbacks are significantly close to the lines. The homes are very large in respect to the lot sizes,
Well, why
and this
didn't you-
would not be much different.
When I inspected this property before it ever came before us, and I noticed across the street there appeared to be what was probably a subdivision to 230s. When I first saw the request upcoming and went into inspection, I thought, are you kidding? 3 houses there. But I'm just surprised that after meeting with the community that you even came in with a 30 and a 60. Like most people will come in and go, okay, can we at least have 2 45s? And I'm not saying, I don't know if you realize what a heavy lift this is, a 68% coverage. I mean, it just seems so significant that, I just want you to understand that, because this seems like putting a lot of mud, 10 pounds of mud in a 5-pound bag.
If you were to look at the plans for the community, the overhead views, the aerial views, you will see that what we propose is not particularly different than dozens of homes within a 4-block radius. And we'd like to submit those, but we were going to do that after we heard some opposition.
I thought they should be, yes. And I made enough copies for each of them to have, yes.
Chris, we probably could use a 2-minute break to talk to our client. Would we be able to have a 5-minute recess to confer with our client? I mean, I appreciate that. Outside for a minute. Yes. Okay. So I just wanted to make a statement, and then I'm going to make a request.
Okay.
After conferring with my clients. One of the reasons we were seeking this kind of build-out is because our client who's going to live in the property has significant physical infirmities, and it was hoped that we'd be able to build him a sanctuary of sorts that he'd be able to live in comfortably, including putting an elevator in and giving him some privacy up at the top of the house so that the neighbors don't really see the daily things that go on. Having said that, we've now had a conference, and we would like to request of this board an adjournment one time for the purpose of listening to the idea of the board and resubmitting two 45-foot or perhaps two 30-foot homes. I don't mean 30. I mean, we're going to put two smaller homes on the properties, which are 3 properties. And we'd like to amend our applications to do that if we could have time to do that.
Okay,
We're trying to avoid expense
I
and time.
appreciate that, and I don't want to misspeak, but just, if you're going to do that, it's more than just the 45s. The coverage is huge. And I'm not trying to beat you up.
We are going to consider that as well.
And it's the coverage and the 4-story idea, that's huge. You know, you can achieve almost the same thing, but the 4 stories, the coverage, and the lot sizes are.
And again,
just
I'm telling you, we're listening to what you're saying.
Yeah, I mean,
and
I wanted to.
we are reconsidering our plan so that we think that it'll fully satisfy everybody, including all the people behind us.
Okay, it's up to the chairman, but, I mean, I think going over it like
What
this.
about Christina? What happened?
Oh, certainly. We're not going to waste the board's time, and we're not going to waste my time or their time. So yes. I pointed at him too. I know.
Yes, I do. I love you too. Yeah, 40 years.
What are you thinking that we, go ahead, Mr. Chairman.
No, go ahead.
What do you, are you thinking we adjourn at sine die, or?
It means without a future date for those of you who
Sorry.
don't speak Latin. Not that any of us speak Latin either.
We're talking about 3 to 4 months. Because we have to use the notice, we have to start notice again. We need a few weeks to reconstitute the plans. It has to be submitted, has to be reviewed.
Patrick,
So
go out 4 months.
September 4th?
can we make it the 1 week after that?
Isn't that September 11th?
Do we have? a-
No, it's September 18th we have.
Okay, I was going to say September 11th. So you mentioned renoticing, well, so you have a
Yeah.
sign posting now?
Yes,
Okay, so obviously that needs to be updated.
correct. We have
Um,
to
and
do
then-
everything over again.
Notices.
Normally when we adjourn, there's no renotice because the people are here.
On this one.
But you mentioned renoticing, which I think is a good idea.
Yeah,
Once you have your proposal solidified, I think it's a good idea for you to send it back out to the folks, not just here, but you might as well do the same mailing that you did before. So if
Michelle.
they're, okay.
And once you have your application formalized, it might be a nice idea if you met with neighbors before coming in here.
Have the neighbors come in here?
No, it might be a nice idea if you met with the neighbors to show them your
The
new
new-
revised proposal.
We haven't had a whole lot of luck with talking with them, frankly. We've tried to do that.
Well, all right, you can try again, all right? We'd like to see some efforts in that regard.
Yeah, in the back, I'm sorry.
They're gonna send out new notifications, they send it to where our taxes go, because there were at least 6 people on our block that are in as a summer home, and nobody got the notification. They were sent back.
I don't think we can do that.
I'm not sure that we can do that.
think we can do
Usually the rule is they have to go by the property record and there's a certain radius.
However,
Interestingly, the person who's talking now, I notified her on January 25th.
Okay.
When we last left here.
All right.
however, if many of the neighbors are using it as a summer house, and if we have a hearing on the 18th of September, one would think that they would be in residence over the summer months. Okay?
And if I may, if you signed in today, where you signed, we'll give,
I signed in for the house because it's for Nassau County. He now has my address in Manhattan, so hopefully that will.
okay. So those who signed in, they'll give him a copy of that notice, of that sheet, and he will mail the notice to those.
But don't the
addresses.
people who aren't here, who are only in the summer, do you guys have forwarding or something?
You know, I come to my house 4 days, we get 3 days a week, and I get mail, so I have no idea.
Okay,
why
well-
I did not get this.
All right.
Okay, so you'll get it.
I do, it came back.
Let's not go down that road.
Okay, so there's a mechanism in place. I think we have to stick with doing the property record. You seem to be back enough to get yours. The others will be here, as the chairman said. The mailing window is in the summer for September 18th. It's like the 30 days before the hearing, so it seems like everyone will be here.
If anyone wants to give me an address that they prefer, I have no problem accommodating that.
Yeah, I think the one issue would be, you're gonna need those affidavits
I'm gonna
for
send them to
the,
both.
Could
Okay,
you-
you're gonna
could
do
you-
both.
In addition, could you possibly give some of the people who are here your business card so that they can notify other people who are not in residence other than in the summer?
We've done this before, but I'll do
Okay.
it again.
Do it again.
I'm gonna leave 4 or 5 cards here.
The case is on for the 18th of September at 2 p.m.
Thank you for your time.
Thank you.
Yes?
So this has been adjourned a few times. The last time we were here, we spoke with the architect outside afterwards, and the last set of drawings were 3 lots, 30 feet wide. They were also asking for 68%. So none of that has
Right.
changed.
Okay, well, it doesn't matter. I mean,
But to save you money next time, I formally urge them to consider the lot coverage on both.
I think we've already been over that.
You can
That's what
speak
he's,
to that outside. However, if they don't change, we have to allow them to make their case. If they come back in and say 68%, the next time around, we'll consider that as well.
but I
All right?
think he's,
And, you have to allow them to make their case, and then the board will make a decision.
And I suspect they should understand a win when a win is a win.
right, no, let's not start that. But he did seem to indicate, I expressed, okay, but
Well, all right.
I expressed only for myself some reservations I had at the significance of the request, and he took that point, and from my impression was that the items that I found most significant were the ones that he's planning to address. So I think we go from here, okay? I mean, I think,
I agree 100%, but my concern is that he didn't change anything from the last submission.
but maybe he didn't get the impression of the board because nothing was heard. Before it was just a jury.
Spoke with us, and we told him that this 68% is a big
All right, we're not going to hear this case today.
One thing, before we had 3 houses, now we have 2 houses.
We understand that, sir.
You're wrong.
All right, we understand it. Let's not get into an argument that's not going to go anywhere. All right? September 18th, 2 p.m.
Thank you.
See you all day.
That concludes for today. Somebody make a motion.
Chairman, I move that we close the hearing for the day and we sit again in 2 weeks. I don't know.
Okay? All in favor? All right, we're going to do decision. 5-minute break.
5-minute break.
Okay, so the file that you sent me the pictures on, 84 Mineola. Okay, oh, that's what I was trying to, I want to see how much is there. Same thing. Oh, wait, should be on there. When I did 18%. The one that we did, that was 88. Right, in those, hold on, let me just look, I think. No, we're not doing this.
Are you gonna be an arbitrator?
too early, do you fix that?
Good. I'm a happy camper. All right, so afternoon calendar. Cases 280 and 281, I think we're waiting for a percentage breakdown, Katura.
Sorry, which case?
280 and 281, where you requested how much of the deck
No,
on
I
a
got
percentage
that.
basis?
Hold on.
Where'd you get it?
Let me write one.
I said
Let me just write this 63.
How much is living space, how much is deck?
There's a bunch of that. Okay. Yes. She's gonna get us your.
All right, so we're gonna hold that case. Bless you.
Thank you.
We're gonna hold it for the next meeting. Cases 282 and 283 in Belmore, Eugenio Jimenez, immediate family residence, blah, blah, blah.
6 bedrooms, 5 bedrooms, 5 bathrooms.
Yeah, well, how do you stop that? Okay. You wanna hold that, or you wanna make a decision? Anybody have any questions or comments about that application, those applications? If not, do I have a motion?
I mean, all he needs is immediate family.
Yeah.
So I make a motion that cases 282 to 283 of 24 in Belmore, located at 1905 Bedford Avenue, be approved as requested with the immediate family conditions, temporary.
And no illegal occupancy in the basement, I second.
Yes.
All in
Okay.
favor?
Aye.
Any opposed, any abstentions? Next case is 284 through 286 inclusive. Lido Beach, Diane Enright. Any discussion?
No, it's okay.
We got the percentages on that, I think we did, correct? You want to make a motion?
I move, well, I think the, let me look at what the lot area occupied was only 29 proposed.
Right, 29.
So I move as it relates to cases 284 through 286 of 2024, properties located at 31 Reynolds Drive in Lido Beach, that the requests be approved as requested, with the condition that the 4-foot-high fence forward the dwelling that may obstruct the line of sight be kept open and see-through.
Usual fence.
And, yeah, temporary.
They also said that they flatlined and removed the swimming pool and
Yeah.
Wait. That was on 287, 288, wasn't it?
I have 287 at Fulton.
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
287, 288.
Yeah.
Okay.
That was an above ground pool. All right, so I second the 284 to 286, correct?
All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Okay, next case is 287 and 288 of 2024 Belmore, Lisa Royce. Any discussion other than they said they'd remove the pool and the pergola? My suggestion is we hold it until they remove it.
All right, so put it in, I guess.
Hold until
Or we
removed.
could just grant it with that condition.
We could do that too.
But it should, what gets us off?
Hold until removed. That gives them an impetus, to remove it sooner rather than later, because you ain't getting anything. Next case, Near Valley Stream, Samina Nagaria. Do I have any discussion? If not, do I have a motion?
Is it me?
It's Joe.
Oh, Joe?
That's maintaining the vestibule and the line.
And it's exactly the same case that was previously before the board.
Mm-hmm.
So I would move that case 289 in 2024, Samina Niagara at 35 Radstock Avenue, west in Near Valley Stream, be granted as requested.
Second.
Second, and
All
close that
in
open
favor?
public hearing. Aye.
Any
Close that open
opposed? Any
public
abstentions? Okay, cases 290 and 291, West Hempstead, Verde Land Homes, subdivision, et cetera, that's essentially a rehearing of a
Yes.
case that was previously granted. The applicant, of course, represented that he's placing the new houses in the same location. The old house, the approved.
It's just, they just had it ran out, they just failed to pick up the
failed
permits.
to pick up. Any other comments from the board? If not, do I have a motion?
I move case 290 of 24 and 291 of 24 West Hempstead Verdiland Homes located at Schenectady's Avenue.
Schenectady.
Schenectady?
Second.
What, Schenectady? Wait,
No.
be approved as, with new home
New home
conditions,
and
subdivision.
subdivision
I said,
conditions.
I said, what did I say, Schenectady?
They want a double
That's
wide
your
patio,
Schenectady.
right?
Okay.
Where Mr. O'Brien said
Thank
they
you,
would agree to
Stephanie.
put, okay.
Hi, Steph.
I second.
Second.
Aye.
Any opposed, any abstentions? Okay, cases 292 to 294, Elmont, the Gospel Assembly Church.
If it asks for the applicant to email conditions.
Okay,
Okay, so hold.
We'll hold it.
Conditions.
conditions. Okay. Next case, 1382 of 2024. 1382, 2024?
Must be-
Announce
How is that
Expedite.
number right?
Expedite.
You assign them a number, 1,000?
No.
Okay.
The numbers are signed before they expedite.
All right, that case has been adjourned to May
It's
15th.
ironic,
At 2
the Elmont
p.m.
case
Don't plan
next
on
is
any
1381.
after-hours collations.
Ironic, that's an expedite too.
I'll say
Then
long night.
case 1381 of 2024 in Elma,
That's
1380.
an expedite. And it's ironic. too.
How's that get a number?
Expedite, John.
That's, a 1381 is an expedite?
They get a case, they get in the queue, and then they get the.
So that case was
Goes with 106.
parking issue. That was.
Oh, that's the one.
That's
So
the-
that's the one where there were a few people who
Right.
mentioned the issue of
Double
the
wide.
street parking being already overburdened. So the applicant's counsel, Mr. O'Brien, offered to make a double wide
Double-wide
pad.
driveway.
But it's important that we indicate that not to widen the curb cut too, because that takes another street parking spot. So the idea would be the same curb cut, but once you pull in, it's a double wide pad.
Would you like to wait for some plans that fit that?
Did we ask him to give them?
And plus, were we gonna say it was owner occupied because somebody else complained that they thought it might become a
Well,
multifamily?
that's the new
Right.
construction
Okay,
condition.
perfect.
Right, he agreed to that.
Well, yeah, we're gonna have,
That's 106 gets that.
Cases 310, 311, and 312.
Wait, did anybody?
Decide on.
What?
Did we make a
did we
motion?
not make the motion?
not make a
Oh, okay, 381 and
13.
381 of 2024 and
13.
106 of 2022. Cases go together. I move that we grant the subdivision of both lots and the other requested relief with the usual subdivision conditions, with the condition as it relates to the double wide parking pad on the construct, and the conditions that counsel for the applicant is providing us, if you ask for it.
And that, notwithstanding the fact that it's a double wide parking pad, he not ask for a larger curb cut.
Right. Okay, second.
Second?
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? And cases 310, and now, case 312 is withdrawn.
Yes.
Okay, so 310 and 311 have been adjourned to September 18th at 2 p.m.
And we need to fix our calendar.
All right, now we had some
Wait,
issues.
and then there was a 318 withdrawn?
You know what we're gonna have to do?
Okay, fine.
Christine, I think we should fix our calendar on this one now. But it's gonna change again
Yeah.
when it comes in, or do you think we shouldn't even bother to fix it now?
I know, you think we should probably amend our.
I think we should shore it up now. You know why?
Yes.
You know why I think we should shore it up?
But it's either now or later.
Because we don't know what it's
I
gonna
think we should
be.
shore it up now, because if someone in the
Yeah,
office
Monty
is looking at
Heights
this,
with
Sure,
and
it's
they get a
confusing.
letter that says, we wanna withdraw that request.
Yep.
But it doesn't say, oh, and by the way, put in the force.
Yep.
So we should fix it now.
I mean, they do
So
sign
that
off on
whatever
the
comes
notice.
in is referencing what
It's your
our
vernacular.
our person's looking
Like
at.
Gail.
Yeah, well,
Because she has to take off.
Yep. This thing is, in other words,
you mean
staff.
Yeah, I remember that.
You can't sign this.
Okay, so, oh, that's the end of that. Okay, so let's go through the other reserved matters that,
So I don't know if everybody wants to.
Sean? Cases 173 and 174 of 2024 in Lido Beach is 25 Saratoga Street in Lido Beach. As I noted for the record, when I inspected it, there was no existing deck, which I presume was just demolished prior to. The house is basically finished. It's an attractive house. I'm okay with the deck they want to put in with the stairs.
173 is okay.
Yes.
And 174 is denied.
174 is denied in part and approved in part. I'm okay with putting the pool in the side yard, and I'm okay with the 6-foot fence, but not forward of the dwelling. So the forward of the dwelling on the 6-foot fence, I move to deny that portion of case 174.
Second. All in favor?
Aye.
Next, 99 of 24 and 753 of 23, we're going to get draft decisions. Correct?
Yes.
Call for 500 Hunley Harbor Road, we're going to hold that. Supreme Collision, we're going to hold that.
Yeah, I mean, I think next meeting we should be able to do Supreme Court.
205 of 24.
I believe we voted.
You did?
Yep.
Okay. Curiac,
We're,
206 to 209.
We've been in touch with the plans examiner and the applicant. We are still waiting for a new denial and then to go forward.
212 and 213. We're holding that until they
Hear from the
change the lot
applicant.
size.
Yeah, and if you guys remember, that's the gentleman who's overseas. So it's been hard to get in touch with him. I just spoke to Mr. O'Brien.
So 217 of 24, near Valley Stream, Portage Holdings. That is 773 Golf Drive. Anybody want to say anything about that?
I just wrote full file.
Okay, we'll hold it. That's the large deck and the mikvah.
Right.
Yeah, I really think I need to look back at the plans because.
Okay. Munson Fire, we did that. SDL Belmore, we will hold. 229 through 231. No basement entrance, we're gonna hold that.
No, it looks like we might be able to do it.
Yeah, they consent to no basement entrance.
Joe, you want to do that one? Are you familiar with that case?
Yeah, no, but I heard the testimony and saw the plans.
Okay.
I move that case 229 to 231, 2024, Joseph and Lori Russo, the mother-daughter, that be granted with the usual mother-daughter conditions. And the variances for lot area occupied, front yard average setback, construct one-story addition and two-story addition and roofed over portico, all attached to the dwelling. Alterations in excess of 50%, new CO is required. I move that be granted as requested, and that the variances for lot area occupied, rear yard, construct a 3-car garage with the shed addition, that also be granted, but the entire house should have no basement entrance.
Second.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, any abstentions? 233 to 235, I'm going to inspect that. 240 to 242, 24. They have not submitted the elevation plans.
Correct, and if everyone remembers, this was the house that had the 2 meters and the 2 bells.
Oh, yeah,
All
that's the
that
one
one?
that I told the guy we might need to have him.
Yep.
2255, case 129.
So wait, how are we moving that case forward?
Which case?
The 2 meters, 2 bells. Is someone else
We're not.
looking at it?
Not.
How are we getting off the decision counter?
Staying on, right.
Okay.
That's 240 to 242. Case 129 of 24. Did we get highway curb cuts?
Well, it turns out that if we require, Christina, you want to brief everyone?
Sure. So, the curb cuts as they are is something that would need highway department approval. The highway department does not routinely approve curb cuts that are over, I believe it's 18 feet for residential, 25 for commercial. This is like 120 feet on one side, the other one is also about 100 feet. This is not something
It's
that.
not going to be approved.
Correct. But the issue is that there is a waive of, so there's no parking, right? So the curb cuts are not going to be granted. That's, the highway department.
But we could still grant the parking waiver.
Well, so, in speaking to the building department, it might make sense if we grant the waiver of off-street parking, provided they provide 0 spots, they would still be able to operate. And I know Mr. Pellegrini had an idea that maybe we would permit them to have a handicap spot, maybe on, I believe
you
it's
know-
on Center Street.
Right.
So that would be not run afoul of curb cuts, and it would be 1 spot. So we could, do something creative like that, like waiver of off-street parking, but have the 1 handicap spot on Royal.
I think that's a
So-
good idea. I'm in favor of that.
Okay, let's do it.
Okay.
All right?
Okay.
Who made that
All right.
motion? Who made that
Joe.
motion?
I move that 129, 24, 25, 2255 Center Avenue Group LLC be, that the waiver of parking be denied, the curb cuts restored. However, there should be 1
Well,
handicap
I don't know that,
Granted.
wait, Joe,
Granted.
I'm not sure we should make
The
them
waiver?
restore things, right? Isn't that?
That's gonna be the highway department.
Okay, subject to the highway department's.
Well, we just don't have to speak to that, right?
Yeah.
We'll just
Not us.
grant the parking waiver,
And I
right?
think we should address it with the highway department, otherwise it'll be there.
It,
But it's not
you wanna reserve?
Well, that's,
Why? Just
well,
get
how
rid of
are
it.
we gonna address the highway department?
We could just get rid of it and.
All right.
No.
I think we just grant the waiver,
This-
Provided they provide 1 handicap spot on Center.
right.
And
then
that they
let them
comply
do
with
the
all
rest.
other
That's-
municipal town of
They have to
Hempstead.
do.
Yes.
They
Exactly.
Yeah, like
already
that.
And then you can put an asterisk on it,
Yeah, like
curb
that,
cut
and
or.
then they figure it out.
Yep, exactly.
That way it's not more work for you, and it's
It's gone.
second, all in favor? Aye. The last case, can we go to the, so 84 Mineola, I took a look at it. The house is predominantly, then I looked at the plans, and what they propose looks almost the same from the front. It puts on 2 large dormers, I don't have an issue with that. But that house, it's just like the slippery slope problem, and might look at it in a few others, which is lot area occupied. So the existing lot area occupied of the house is 44.5%, and 18.8% of that, it's 63.4, 18.8 of which is a deck, 44.5 is a house. Now they propose to stay at 63, but they want 51% to be a house and 12 to be a deck, and I'm not crazy about it. One mitigating factor I will say is this house backs up. At the end of Point Lookout, on Mineola, those houses all back up to like a beach. So the encroachment is probably less imposing to the neighbors around there because it's all open from there back. On the flip side, every time we keep granting these higher, then we have everyone in the place saying, well, you granted 55 there. So my knee-jerk reaction is, I would be against the house going from, I think the house is at 44, they're at 63 with 44 and 18 split. I'm not crazy about going to a 51-12 split. By the same token, if there was one to go, this is less imposing. So I don't know what you guys think. It's 84 Mineola, and like I said, they want this, by the way, what they want to add, here's what, in the back, here's what they want to add, John. So here's the house, here's the beach, right back here. So the house is like, John, look. So the house is like this, look. The house is like this with the deck back here, right? And this is 44%, and this is 18, okay? Now, basically on the top, they just want to put 2 dormers like this, so that doesn't really affect much. And then back here, they want to put a 2-story extension here. But this is all open, so in that way, it's not seeming problematic. No. Right, no one's going to complain about that. But we are allowed to take into effect the precedential impact of our decisions. And this is we're really running into like a, you know,
Runaway train. What is
no, I was gonna say, it's like a tumor, you know, it's like metastasizing.
Don't say that.
No,
It's,
this-
but Kim gets,
No.
What's the reason for this?
I'll pull your other two down.
Did the house get have a little sensitivity?
The house is getting bigger back here, in the open space. It's not really probably an issue that way. So at the very least, if we grant this, I definitely want to articulate
So
that it's a 51, it's still high.
I would just say one thing, that Ms. Adams isn't here, I think you were out that.
Yeah, I had to go in
So
back and leave the
should we put on the 15th? Reserve it until the next,
if you
so
want.
we
but-
have,
Okay,
you
it
know,
doesn't matter to
the-
me either way. I did the
Yes.
inspection
Yep,
and
no,
all this,
understood.
but
Smart.
even if we
With the whole
grant
thing,
it, we're
it's-
gonna,
oh, be that as it may. Yeah, but,
differences.
correct.
Why we're doing it in this case.
Correct, and not
To
others.
try to
and then we
minimize
already
the
did
Sure.
this one.
Yep. Just make sure we have more folks here.
Have anything on 1378 for 1380? Took off that.
Yeah, we have it granted as requested, yep. And then we're holding
We're holding
Satish
93.
Kumar. Mhm.
All
Yep.
right. Any other administrative?
Wait, and what are we
issues?
gonna do on 93? Someone, I
We're not
have
gonna do
leased or
anything
bought.
until
No, I just
find
mean, do we
out
have to
whether-
gather
Whether or
information?
not that's really a religious
Yeah.
use.
Okay, and who's gonna do
Simply
that?
doesn't seem like it.
Can,
Is that, how are we gonna do that?
can we ask Christina to draft a grant excluding the religious draft decision?
But wait, if we, oh, so you wanna just, but how, wait, hold on. How do we grant a parking waiver without knowing what the business is?
Well, they did testify as to how many folks use it. It's just, I think, a matter of, since it's two different denominations, no religious icons, is it a religious
But like,
use?
look, if we take out of this sentence,
It's a public
special
assembly.
exception for proposed religious use.
Yep.
All we have left is existing building, waive off-street parking.
Let me ask you a question. You suggested, why don't we call them up and say, look, do you want to change it for public assembly? Sure.
Yeah, they could use it then,
Right, but what about the notice issue?
We're having problems, well, the use is the same,
right.
all the other conditions are the same. We just don't want to call it a religious use because, tell me what religion it is.
Okay,
Well,
can I
it's
just
an
say,
X of seats
I
and-
see a difference in whether or not I get a notice as a neighbor that there's a religious use versus public assembly.
Well, I know that the office did get a bunch of phone calls on this case when it was initially, it was, just look at the number, it was on once, and I think it was defective notice that it was adjourned. So we did get calls on it, and
I just think that the notice issue is different. I don't know, I just feel like if we wanna do that, we should have a rehearing or
Religious
something.
use is not defined in the code, correct?
I don't believe it is.
I'm only
We could-
suggesting that the neighbors are supposed to get notice of the proposal, and they got notice of a religious use. And I'm just suggesting that there may be neighbors who
Would have come
might,
out otherwise.
yes.
But if we
So what are
do
you
it,
gonna call it if it's not a religious
just
use?
dismiss the religious use and grant it public assembly.
The neighbors didn't get notice that they were asking for public assembly.
I
That's what I'm
understand.
saying.
Yeah,
I mean, I don't have a
no,
dog in the
no,
race.
how do you cure it?
Rehearing, I guess.
Yeah.
I don't know. What do they actually do there?
I would say they meditate. They meditate for an hour to an hour and a half, after which they have a common prayer that they say, and then they allegedly break bread together.
Right.
So what's the aversion to granting it as religious use?
What,
They didn't prove the case as a religious use. It was very superficial.
What is the standard for religious
well,
use?
that's the point. Yeah, is it a religious use simply because you say a prayer afterwards? Is that a religious use?
I guess we have to look up the federal, our LUPA statute must define a religious use.
That's
We need
why
a
we asked
whole-
we asked for a little help from a consultant who could come in and lecture to us on the LUPA.
Yeah, they just
We
have
can
to
ask questions.
I mean, I'll try to look it up, but
Is
our
that-
LUPA will define what a religious use is.
Are you
so we
guys
know
working
what-
on that?
It's gonna be
So,
very, very big.
regarding that, John, I did reach out to the representatives from New York State that were at the
Yeah.
seminar.
Mhm.
They are available, they just got back, they're available
This Friday.
I'd like to do it in person.
I feel like it would probably benefit
We're
better.
we're gonna have a conference call with these people, they're gonna teach us about what we're gonna conference call.
No, let's get some CRS
So
for
I
it.
think,
It's not
I'll let them see if they're able to come down here in person.
Yeah.
If not,
And
I'll
when?
reach back out to Jack and see if we can, outside counsel.
Yeah, somebody's got.
But not Peter Sullivan.
But not who? Not who?
Mr. Sullivan. I can't take it.
Anything else on with that?
We have extensions of time.
How about Look Entertainment? Are we able to get that up?
Yeah, right, we're gonna grant.
We have 3 extensions of time. The second one is to commence construction. The board heard the case and granted it on December 6, 2023.
On December 6th.
6,
First time that you said 26th, I was like, no way.
not yet. It is a Stephen Laverty case. No, that's the next one. This is a Sunrise Highway in Seaford. It's to start construction. Inform that they need asphalt yards due to the weather, so that should,
Start construction on what? Business? Sunrise
Yeah.
Highway must be business.
yes. Waiver of street parking, insufficient backup to maintain dumpster in a residence B with less than required rear yard setback.
What is that, that strip mall?
I don't know. That's what they're asking for,
Is
so.
it timely?
No, it's not, that's why it's, well, yes, we have the right to grant it, if that's what you mean, yes. That one, and then there's Stephen Laverty is for an extension of time
On what?
on, yes, subdivision of lot to construct a dwelling, demo an existing dwelling. Board granted it December 13th, 2023, and that is also,
Why does he need?
he needs a minor subdivision permission from the Nassau County Planning Commission. I'm sure that's in the works. And then the last case is a Jennifer Mills, which is, which was a variance, lot area occupied, front yard average setback, side yard aggregate, construct 2-story addition and 2nd-story addition and extension into portico, extension to a portico with a bay window. That was,
I remember the bay window.
well, that's, it's gotta be different, cause that just came up recently. This was granted by the board on 4/21/21, and it's in process. They claim that their, contractor material delays, et cetera. Here's some pictures that you might wanna look
Yeah,
at.
that's important if there's.
And,
It doesn't look like there's too much debris. It's dried in. So just, it's a complete construction issue. Oh, yeah, inside.
right, the outside, that's,
Yes. Oh, it's upside down, that's what, I'm like, what happened to the house up there? And they stapled it upside down.
so,
That one seems okay.
so buttons,
I don't see
okay.
much debris around.
So should we grant them a 9-month extension of time?
Did they ask for any particular?
No,
amount?
they never do, they don't know
I
enough.
think 9 sounds about right.
Okay. I move that we grant the 3 aforementioned cases a 9-month extension of time to do what's
Second.
necessary.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, any abstentions? That concludes
You're
all
welcome.
business.
See ya.
Motion to adjourn,
I move that we adjourn.
second, all in favor?
Aye. 15.